love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Oh, I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Right.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is DeCarrion Joyner. You're listening to 107.5 The Game, home of the Gamecock.
A Cumulus media station.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Are you looking to lower your cholesterol? Well, you're going to want to focus on your diet. According to a large new study out of Denmark, people who followed plant-based diets, vegetarian or vegan, saw their cholesterol levels drop by about 10%. This corresponds to a third of the effect of taking cholesterol-lowering medications such as statins. Importantly, they found similar results across continents, across ages, different ranges of body mass index, and among people in different states of health, the author said. Now, if you're ready to make a change to a plant-based diet, or at least ready to give it a try, it is important to talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian to make sure that you're still getting the nutrients you need. Now, if a full vegetarian or vegan diet is one bridge too far, you could give the Mediterranean diet a try. From all the studies out there, the health benefits are seemingly limitless. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
The early game
with Bill Gunter.
I'm still holding a grudge from a year ago where Terry ate my donuts for my birthday. But a year ago when Lauren DoorDashed me donuts down here for my birthday and there was confusion and they got left.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And like on air, they're like joking about it and they're talking about how they're eating them and enjoying them.
And Jen Jensen.
Well, as they should, because I mean, I definitely...
They don't go bad overnight.
Well, they're not as fresh, and I feel sure that probably Lauren was thinking, man, you know, this would be really nice. He can have some donuts. He can share with his coworkers.
Who are you defending right now? Which person are you defending?
I'm trying to remember.
Anybody but me is clearly what you're doing here. That's the name of the early game. Just defend anybody but Gunner.
But
no way he was in the right on this.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
107.5 The Game.
Wednesday morning, it is the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head again in once again for Bill. That's our final day. Bill will make his return tomorrow morning.
We assume.
We assume. Has anybody heard from Bill in the past week?
I did text with him yesterday.
Okay.
And he said that he was doing a lot of rest.
Okay.
Lots of rest. I don't know how much rest you can actually do, but it sounds like he's really, really tired. It sounds like he'll be ready to come in tomorrow. So that's a good chance for me to leave and be gone tomorrow.
I was going to say, you're like heading out as soon as he comes back in.
That would be correct. I think I'll see him one day, which will be like next Wednesday. And then he's off again next Thursday and Friday. So really, I only have one day of Gunter in like 2 weeks. So it's a magical thing.
Well, we won't tell him you said that.
Oh,
I'm sure he knows.
It's okay.
When you guys aren't doing this show and aren't having to wake, like, can you actually sleep in? When you get so used to a schedule like this, like, do you just naturally wake up super early?
I do, but it's not difficult for me to go back to sleep.
Okay,
that's the move. You wake up and then you like, oh, I'm just gonna roll
Isn't
back
that
over.
isn't that like joyous though? Like, oh, I don't have to get up. Like,
Correct.
I can sleep for 4 more hours.
That is sort of the joy of it. You're like, oh man, 8 o'clock. Wow, who would have thought that? 7 o'clock. Who would have saw that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I actually was able to take a nap yesterday.
Good.
They weren't cutting grass.
Congratulations.
Good.
I'm feeling good this morning.
Good.
That's awesome.
It's always clutch when I have to do this, especially doing it for a week straight.
You're almost ingrained. You're really close to your body switching over.
Yeah. Well,
It's
see,
very close.
Now I'm looking forward to when I go home today because I'm back on my normal schedule tomorrow. I have more like time this afternoon to actually get things done and like get ready for tomorrow. And like, okay, I don't have to set aside time to nap. I can like wake up at my normal time tomorrow. So
Exactly.
looking forward to that. But yes, Bill will be back in tomorrow. So for anybody, and I always feel the need, I have to put this out there anytime I'm filling in, like Bill's okay. Just taking a few days off because like inevitably people that, not everybody listens for the entire 3 hours, obviously, but people tune in here and there like, what happened to Bill? Is Bill okay? Like, yes, Bill is fine. We'll be back tomorrow.
He's
Don't
just
worry.
lazy.
Well,
No, actually, it does happen. And like last year, you have a certain amount of vacation days.
Sure.
And he didn't get a chance to take them all.
Yeah.
So it's like he decided this year, you don't use them, you lose them.
Well, and obviously our busiest time of year is when football season starts, which is less than a month away. So probably a good time to get those out of the way.
Yep, absolutely.
So speaking of which, we are 24 days away from kicking things off against North Carolina in week number 1. Fast approaching. We're getting into the grind of camp now and I know we've obviously talked about the things that we've seen through the first 2 days of observations that Mindy was able to see. Now it's going to be kind of a lot of the same stuff over these next couple of weeks. Not a whole lot is probably going to change in the lead up to it. And then we'll see kind of what happens when team takes the field against UNC on September 2nd, right?
Yeah, the next day camp changes is first scrimmage.
Yeah.
So first
Which
scrimmage
is Saturday.
I believe it's Saturday. I'm not sure how open that is or what the stipulations are as far as who can view it or who can not.
It's
totally
shut off to
closed.
everybody.
Totally
Closed
closed. That makes sense.
practice.
Yeah. So you'll hear some leaks coming out of that, and essentially it'll be this guy looked good, this guy didn't necessarily do as well as we thought he. So there'll be some parcels leaks, and then inevitably after that we'll say, well, it was just the first scrimmage. Wait till the second one. Then the second one will be the one where they start breaking down the actual depth charts of where they're going to go for the year. So first scrimmage, we'll hear some more information.
We obviously know they've been doing, ones versus ones and, obviously situational stuff through camp so far. What difference does it make finally getting to play that first scrimmage on Saturday?
Well, they've been doing all controlled. So let's say if they've been doing 11 on 11 versus 11, which is everybody good versus good, which is 1 versus 1s. Even in that instance, you may not be taking them to the ground. You may not actually be spotting the ball where the ball actually ends up. So if the offense had a 20-yard run and then you just bring it back to another spot, you don't get the feel for exactly what the offense is doing. Also, the offense is not playing in down and distance situations. So they're really just calling plays, working on things. There's not really there's a rhyme or reason as to why they're doing things because every play in practice is scripted, but it's not necessarily based on down distance and situations.
And I believe it's either today's the off day or yesterday was the off day. But
excuse me,
I believe what Wes and Chris are telling me is correct. I asked them about this yesterday. I believe they said they had an off day.
Off day?
Yes. No off days, right? No days off.
Fancy flavors of Gatorade and off days? What on earth?
What in the world?
This is from Wes and Chris, so don't shoot the messenger here. But either way, whatever day that was, either yesterday or today off, pads are starting either today or tomorrow.
So you mean to tell me they had an off day before they actually wore full pads?
Again, this is what Wes and Chris have told me.
I'm calling in.
I
need to confirm this.
I'm just passing the message along. This is what I've been informed.
Off day.
Y'all, I'm guessing y'all didn't have off days back in your time.
No. Definitely, an off day was considered a day if we had one practice. That would be considered an off day. We're gonna take it easy today, fellas. We're going 1 3-hour padded practice.
That's it. If you're lucky, you might get some clouds that roll by and it won't be as hot.
Ooh,
I think Preston's looking for those off days. He wants them back now.
I need one at some time. That's tremendous. Good on them.
I mean, yeah, good for them. Definitely. Again, that's just according to Wes and Chris. So-
Also, I will say that when college coaches give you an off day, I don't know exactly how off it is. Even if they do have one, I'm sure they're still like, oh, it's an off day, but remember, you got to come lift and we got to come watch film and you're going to be watching blah, blah, blah.
You're never just like laying around watching movies and eating candy, right?
I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I don't know what the schedule is, but I highly doubt that it's just, yeah, guys, just take 24 hours and get away. I doubt that's what's going on.
So for the scrimmage coming up on Saturday, it'll be the first time that these true freshmen coming in will have gotten the chance to play inside of Williams-Brice Stadium. And I know it's not the same as a fall Saturday where you have, tens of thousands of people in there and it's a loud environment. But what does just playing inside the stadium, what does that do? And what kind of effect does that have on these new guys?
It allows you to visualize yourself making plays later. So you see really how big the stadium is. You see how big the stadium is, but also you see that regardless of where you're playing, football's still the same thing on the field. The dimensions of it field does not change. 53.5, 120 from end zone to end zone. So that's one of the interesting things about football as opposed to every other sport is that even though there is a market home advantage because of the crowd,
sure,
there's really very negligible difference in fields. Now, you might get to a weird field where there's a crest and, maybe it's a little bit uneven or something like that, but every field is essentially the same thing.
I know there's some high school fields out there that are a little questionable. I remember when I was in high school, all three of the high schools in my county shared one field that was in the center of the city. And why they all shared one field, I don't know, but it's just what they'd always done.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going out onto the field after the game and just seeing how uneven it actually was. I'm like, wow, they actually play on this? Like, no wonder guys twist ankles and stuff.
Yeah. There's definitely some fields, and sometimes they do it for drainage concerns.
Sure,
where they try and get the stuff to drain off the field onto the sidelines. But if you don't know that, you're running uphill or something.
Yeah,
like that.
And now I think they've since in the past year or so put that on like turf, and it's all nice and flat now. I did get on a turf field at Oconee County when I was in college, and we were doing some stuff covering them, and I was like, this field's immaculate. This is beautiful. Like. Yeah, I could definitely see why guys want to play on this.
It's actually flat.
I know it's like ground level. Like
it makes a difference, especially that's why you do some of these first scrimmages in the stadium. A lot of times the coaches will go up top to the box so they can work on their communication through the headphones. Just working through where people will be situated. It's obviously not a game. It's not a game-like situation, but being able to do things in a different environment does help.
And you think about for a guy like Dow Loggins who has not called plays here at South Carolina, what's going to look like for him? Like, okay, here's my vantage point. Here's what I'm able to see. What are my concerns? Assuming he's going to be up in the box, maybe he's going to be on the sidelines.
Yeah, so somebody probably needs to ask that question. Big journalists, we need to find out whether or not he plans on being on the field or whether he plans on being in the box. How does that look? We'll see.
Right. What was your first experience in Willie B like?
Oh, I don't remember.
No,
I don't remember my first, if you're talking about my first time going in there and playing. My first actual experience was as a junior recruit, I believe. And we were coming up to watch a spring game and walking on the sidelines. And that's when you kind of looking around and you sizing them up. And I remember they were doing this old football drill, which is no longer in fashion, called Bull in the Ring.
Okay.
And I saw Kalimba Edwards in the middle of the ring. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And they were calling each other's names out, pointing numbers and hitting each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is different.
Now, is that a drill that just wouldn't fly today?
Yeah, I don't think that we need to leave that drill back where it was.
What was the structure of it? How did it work?
Position group in a circle.
Okay.
The bull comes in the ring. You turn around, you spin around. At any moment, the coach can call out somebody's name. When they call that person's name, that person attacks the person in the center.
I see.
So it's basically like you got to have your head on a swivel.
Right.
That's one variation. The other variation is the person in the middle is rotating, and they can just look around for different people that they want to hit. And so they'll look, and then they'll see you almost like duck, goose.
I see.
Duck, goose. and then boom, we hit each other, and then we just do it again.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
I'm sure it is. I can only imagine what it's like being in the center of that.
The better version is when you get the chance to call out each other. So that's when you get prepared. So I'm going around, I'm looking around. I see somebody that doesn't want to get hit. I definitely go and attack them.
Well,
or even better, I see my teammate who I have an agreement with, and then I'm like, Tyler. And then me and Tyler like fake him. We're like, Arr! We kind of make it sound real good.
Yeah.
There's a certain way you can get the pads to flap up against each other where it really sounds like you're hitting.
Good contact
it's
sound.
Like, Arr! And you hit each other, and then you kind of get away, and coach is like, good job.
You guys gotta lean into the professional wrestling side of it. You gotta sell it.
A lot of performance.
Like, all right, we're gonna make this sound great.
A lot of sell job, a lot of performance, a lot of way you hit, and you can look at each other and make it sound like it's. And you drive your feet a little bit to make it sound like it's a little extra effort. And the coach is like, now we're ready to go, guys.
Now, if you were maybe having a disagreement or a beef with somebody within your position,
that's
group,
when
you ever look at them and say, bull in the ring, I got you
That's
today.
when you air that out at that time.
Like,
also.
I'm coming for you.
Yes. Oh, and if somebody gets somebody, then they get a chance. That's the thing about bull in the ring. It's like karma because the other person is going to get a chance to go in the ring.
Right.
And so you might get your number called too. So it's just football justice. Everything works out.
Literally everything comes full circle.
It goes full circle. Correct.
Speaking of position groups, we did hear from a couple of players yesterday ahead of yesterday's practice out there at camp. And we'll hear some audio from a couple of them coming up next as we get closer and closer to the start of the season. You're listening to the early game. Todd Head in for Bill Gunter this morning. Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen on the other side of the glass on 107.5 The Game.
Have you missed any of the early game?
You can catch up by going to the early game on demand page at 1075thegame.com.
Or by downloading our 1075 The Game app on iTunes or Google Play.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Today's birthday shout-out goes to Aiden Hutchinson. Despite the best efforts of Detroit coach Dan Campbell to slow down the hype train, the Lions are a trendy playoff, even Super Bowl pick, believe it or not, this year. One reason is the emergence of Hutchinson, the 23-year-old defensive end who is determined to improve upon the 9.5 sacks he tallied as a rookie. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-585-8282. 800-585-8282. That's 800-585-8282.
Sponsored by Mattress Firm. Better sleep. Can't wait. Black Friday now at Mattress Firm ends Tuesday. Don't miss your chance to save up to $600 on America's best mattress brands. Plus, get a free adjustable base on qualifying purchases. Hurry and stop by your local Mattress Firm today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler Brown. Do you know the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? The difference could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term care costs. Visit lawyerlisa.com to schedule a consultation today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Daddy, you need a trust.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional grade products. Call, Click Grainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Can we make 10,000 thread count sheets?
For Lens Linens, staying in the comfort zone is never an option.
Maximum thread count we could possibly thread.
An industrial seamstress would make their sweet dreams come true.
I want it to feel like you're on a snowflake, on cotton candy, on marshmallows, on a cloud.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The 2023 Gamecock football
The game.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head in once again for Bill Gunter this morning alongside Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen on the other side of the glass. As I mentioned, we did hear from a couple of players yesterday. Short media availability as camp rolls on. One of those players, going to be one of the most important players on this entire team this year, was Vershawn Lee, who is the projected starter at the center spot. And he talked about a number of things. We'll start off with cut 14 right here really quick, talking about seeing the field from the center position.
Like at guard, left guard, you're usually looking at the left side, looking at your playground in the left side. But at center, you got to look at the whole field. You got to see what the right side was showing, like the safety rotation from the right side. Then you have to see what the safeties are doing on the left side. So it's just a big picture. So like left guard was a picture cut in half, but at center it's the whole picture. So that's the difference in what you see.
I think it's easy for us to look at the offensive line and assume those positions are very interchangeable. It's like, well, you're doing the same thing. You're blocking. Okay, you're playing center. You're just hiking the ball now and you're at the center of the line. But talking about the field vision itself is so different. Your assignments are different. Being the center, you're the quarterback of that offensive line. And for a guy like Rashawn Lee, who has played at guard and he's played at tackle up to this point, this is not his natural position. So all of this is very new for him.
That was a tremendous explanation. That was about as clear cut as you can get for an explanation as to the differences between playing on one side of the line as opposed to playing in the middle. And he also mentioned one thing that you might not notice is he said about safety rotations. So the centers are not only looking at the first level of the defense, they're looking at the second and third levels of defense because so many defenses are now so interchanged and you walk up safeties to cover into blitzes and fire zones and all that really nerdy technical stuff. Centers have to know everything that's going on, let alone the play that they're also trying to run. Now they're communicating with their folks. And then oftentimes it's said that the center is, like you said, the center is the quarterback of the line, but the center is kind of the quarterback of the team. The center is telling the quarterback what we can do, what we can't do. This is where we need to run, pointing to what things need to happen. So they have to be working in the cahoots. And if just by that explanation, if I have to say that he was capable of doing it, sounds like he's at least mentally capable of doing it. Now, will he be able to do it physically? I don't know.
Sure.
But that was a beautiful explanation.
And he's obviously gotten plenty of time over the course of the spring, now going through camp and everything at the center spot. But once we get into playing actual games, they're concerned that maybe through those first couple games, there will be an adjustment period of actually doing it in a live game situation.
Well, also because think about from center, you have to snap.
Yeah.
You have to first, most importantly, you have to snap and then block somebody.
Right.
Whereas at the other positions, you're just waiting on the snap, you're waiting to take your steps. So it's vastly different. Also, if you're thinking about interchanging folks from one side of the line to the other, it's almost like you're doing everything complete opposites. So if you're on the left side of the line, you're doing everything, you're kick stepping, you're taking your pass steps back with your left foot back. If you flip to the right side of the line, you're doing with your right foot back. That doesn't sound like it makes a lot of difference, but there's a lot of nuance as far as how you're doing your drop steps, your hand positioning. So it does make a difference.
And we've been doing something a certain way for so long, it can be very hard to break those habits.
Just think about how do you write? Yeah. Do you write with your other hand? No, you write with whatever hand you write with, right? So when you go to pick up a pen, you automatically write. And why you do that is because you've taken so many repetitions of doing it that way.
Right.
So you can't just say, oh, you know what? Today I'm going to write with my left hand.
Yeah. Not quite.
You could try.
It's not going to be pretty.
It's not exactly. It's not going to work very well. I mean, it might be, you might get some letters on the paper, but it's not going to be great.
It's one of those things talking about writing with your left hand. They're like, if you really super focus on it and go very slowly, it can probably be legible, but that's not very efficient because you're taking so much time.
Exactly. It's not like you could just say, let me just pick it up. I'm going to write a couple of things down.
Sure.
And whereas in football, you need to be acting instinctually and not thinking, okay, left foot back, right foot up. It can't be working like that.
Right. And obviously the offensive line kind of got thrown for a loop when Jalen Nichols had his injury back in the spring games. Things have shifted around quite a bit. It seems like at least 4 of the spots are pretty nailed down, where you'll have Ja'Kai Moore at left tackle, Nick Arjulo at left guard, Rashawn Lee at center, Trey Jones at right guard. The right tackle position is the one that we're still trying to figure out. It's talked about yesterday. Wanamaker was playing there on Monday at the media observation. Sidney Fugar was there on Friday. You have Marky Anderson that could also factor in. And then when Kason Henry gets back to 100% health, which he's hoping to be by the time the season rolls around, he's also a name that is going to be considered there as well.
I want to keep hammering that home because I'm not sure if that's as clear as we need to make it. Any other athletic endeavor, you have a hand that you do it with.
Sure.
And that's where you do it. Because we just think offensive linemen are so interchangeable. We think they can just do everything. And I just want you to think about that next time you hear the lineman being switched, so he's going from left guard to right guard. Think about if somebody was just to say, "Oh, today he's going to bat lefty."
Yeah.
Has
he ever batted left before? Well, no. Well, I'm concerned.
I mean, he's hit before, right? It's like,
sure.
Yes, he has hit before. That doesn't mean he can hit. Oh, today I'm just going to pick up my golf clubs and I'm going to swing with the other hand. I'm going to swing lefty today. I'm going to swing righty today, whatever.
Was it on this show where I told the story of the time I batted left-handed in high school?
Nah.
I'll make this quick, but we played a summer league between my 9th and 10th grade year, and we traveled up north side of Atlanta to Druid Hills High School. And I was on the JV team, so we played their JV team. Their JV team, they had to have been 8th graders because they were all a head shorter than us, like looked younger, the whole 9 yards. And we got out there and we destroyed these guys. The final score of the game was 26-2.
Okay.
But in the second inning, we batted around 3 times. And we just kept scoring run after run after run after run. And the umpire behind home plate was essentially trying to get the game over we varsity still had to play. So when I came up to bat my 3rd time that inning,
wow,
he had announced a couple batters before, hey, from now on, whatever your non-dominant side is, you got to bat that side.
I like it.
And every pitch is going to be a strike.
I like it.
So in my entire life, I had never batted left-handed. And I was like, well, this is going to be ugly. So I get up there. And again, these are like 8th grade kids. He throws me a meatball, the ugliest swing you've ever seen in your life. I hit a slow dribbler down the third base line, about tripped over my own feet running out of the box because I was used to just running straight, not having to turn and run to first base.
There you go.
I still managed to get on base because the third baseman overran the ball.
Something that simple. I was used to running straight, but now I had to turn.
Exactly.
And imagine doing that under the pressure of a SEC lineman. So yeah, that is something that's a great point. Something that's infantile, something so simple could make the hugest difference. I was watching a video of Steph Curry the other day, and he was doing some crazy shooting expedition.
Yeah.
But he was shooting 3-pointers with his left hand with a ball in his right hand. And this is Steph Curry, the greatest shooter ever. And even him shooting with his left hand, of course, he made them. But it was still very labored. He had to really focus and concentrate.
Yeah, it's about half speed.
It did not look natural. It didn't look like it was anything he could do in a game. And so that's something to keep an eye on when we just casually throw around that somebody can play this side or that side, or they're very versatile, or even more so than that, the idea that if there's truly a swing guy who can play a lot of positions, watch for that person to rise up the depth chart because they are truly valuable.
Absolutely. We'll have plenty more player audio for you as the show goes along. Up next, though, a key piece of North Carolina's offense looks like he's not going to be able to play, at least in the first game. Talk about that coming up next. You're listening to The Early Game here on 107.5 The Game.
How would you like season tickets to all Gamecocks football games, baseball games, men's and women's basketball games?
Well, now you can.
It's the ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
Not feeling like yourself? Call the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS. You can win tickets to every USC football game at Williams-Brice.
South Carolina punctuates a massive upset.
Every Gamecock baseball game at Founders Park.
The Gamecocks strike first, a 2-run shot from Ethan Petrie.
Every men's and women's hoops games at the CLA.
One undefeated team left in the nation. It's the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Just go to 1075thegame.com and register to win
The ultimate season ticket giveaway.
Sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, from your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
Hey, it's Jen, and I've been talking about the flood that we had in our house when the pipes burst on December 24th. It wasn't exactly a great Christmas. So much damage in the house. It's hard to believe how much damage water can do. We did have to completely gut the kitchen and all the cabinets. Obviously, that meant all of those had to come out, and we had to figure out where to go and what to do to replace the cabinets in the kitchen. And so we ended up reaching out to CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. They're a women-owned business, locally owned, obviously, and they were fantastic. They helped us find the cabinets that we really liked, helped us design and get that layout all put together, and then that photorealistic rendering showed us exactly what the kitchen would look like. And that was so very helpful because then to put all the other pieces together and get the kitchen put back together, we knew exactly what the kitchen would look like and could go from there to finish those other elements. Cabinets, they were installed, installation, not a problem at all. The guys were fantastic. And I could not be more thrilled at this point with the way our kitchen has turned out. If you need cabinets for your home, maybe even thinking about an outdoor kitchen, you can get cabinets there for that as well. Visit chwcabinetry.com for more information or give them a call at 803-520-6837. Be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Yes, we're stranded off the Main Street exit northbound. How fast can you be here?
I just want to check under the hood while we wait.
Hold on just a sec. Honey, it's dark out. I don't think it's a good idea to get out.
I'm sure it'll take them a while.
They're here?
Wow.
We're not that fast, but we're pretty close. When you're in a pickle because you drive a lemon, call Schroeder's Towing. Don't be left on the side of the road distressed. That's Schroeder's Towing with over 1,200 Google reviews. Call now at 772-7930.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
You haven't tasted real Carolina barbecue until you've experienced Little Pigs Barbecue. Full-service dine-in buffet with barbecue ribs, brisket, chicken, rice, hash, tomato pie, macaroni and cheese, and many more of your favorites. Eat in or take out. Little Pigs Barbecue on Alpine Road is open from 11 to 2 on Wednesday, 11 to 8 Thursday through Saturday, and 11 to 3 on Sunday. Little Pigs Barbecue on Alpine Road. Little Pigs family looks forward to seeing you soon.
I'm Patrick Claybon with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reports Colts running back Jonathan Taylor received an excused absence from practice as he continues to seek treatment for his ankle injury. He's not been with the team since at least Monday. Cowboys right guard Zach Martin has missed close to 2 weeks of training camp, has also incurred fines totaling over $600,000. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones was asked if he was surprised the two sides couldn't find common ground. Jones says not really, but he called the situation very costly and also said that it has huge and significant ramifications. There are 10 live preseason games this week on NFL Network, starting with Thursday, a doubleheader. First, D'Amico Ryan's Houston Texans go to New England to take on the Patriots. The nightcap has the Vikings visiting the Seattle Seahawks. It all starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Success is picking up extra shifts, but now you want to be the boss. Success is getting your foot in the door, but now you want to take the next step. Success looks different to everyone. And for more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has helped working adults like you succeed again. Choose from more than 125 degree and certificate programs with online and hybrid courses. Apply now with no application fee and get started August 16th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate by Chev.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
You need a job, but you want a career that lasts a lifetime. The Charleston County Sheriff's Office has that career, so come and get it. With a high school diploma, you can become a detention deputy and jumpstart your career in law enforcement. You'll get benefits and pay raises. You can climb the ranks at our full-service agency. Visit ccsojobs.com or text 888-210-9756 to apply. Visit ccsojobs.com or text 888-210-9756 to apply. Come join us in service beyond the call.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
And that earlier accident on around Malfunction Junction, that has been cleared, so that's great news. Unfortunately, we do have another accident to let you know about, and that's Alpine Road at Windsor Lake Boulevard. Forecast for today, it's going to be another warm one, and we're looking for a high of 92. And then tomorrow, we'll see. The humidity should be down a little bit, so that won't be so bad. and maybe some breezy conditions to enjoy. Morning storms tomorrow, 94 for the high, and some isolated storms on Friday with a high of 93, 74 right now at 107.5 The Game.
What you're talking about.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. 107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Preston, Jen, along with you this morning. Quick reminder about the Ultimate Gamecocks season ticket giveaway that's live now on 1075thegame.com. Click on the Ultimate Season Ticket image, fill out that form for your chance to win tickets to every home football game, every home men and women's basketball game, and every home baseball game when the spring rolls around. Again, the Ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway live now on 1075thegame.com. As I mentioned before the break, North Carolina, who is taking on the Gamecocks in week number 1 up in Charlotte just 24 days from now, looking to be without what was expected to be one of their key players on offense. Tez Walker, who is a transfer wide receiver from Kent State, had his eligibility denied by the NCAA yesterday. Now, this comes because he is transferred twice and he has not yet graduated. So he originally started at North Carolina Central. They did not play in 2020 because of COVID, so he never actually played a game for them. Ends up transferring to Kent State, has played there for the past couple of years, played very, very well, ends up transferring to North Carolina, but because he's not graduated yet, the NCAA, who has recently cracked down on players transferring because of coaching changes, which happened at Kent State, has denied his eligibility.
The NCAA has cracked down on a player. If I was a North Carolina fan, I'd be furious right now. Of course, I'm a South Carolina fan, so I'm like, hey, those are the breaks. But I'd be furious for sure because out of all the things that the NCAA has not done, they actually decided to follow through and investigate what was going on.
Now, he did cite another reason for his transfer. He's originally from North Carolina. He advised that there was stress and anxiety related to being away from his grandmother, who lives in North Carolina, who has been sick. They took that into account as well, and his eligibility was still denied. He's not the only one as well. Florida State defensive tackle Darrell Jackson Jr., who played at Miami and Maryland, was also denied his eligibility. His mother, who lives in Havana, Florida, also is dealing with some medical problems, but he was also denied eligibility too.
Who, assuming those are legit reasons, assuming those are true and factual, how could the NCAA, all the other things that they've let ride, and then somebody says, hey, man, I'd like to come back and be closer to my sick grandmother. Nah. No, thank you. What?
It's, just one of those things.
Now you decide to follow the rules, follow the letter of the law. Now's the time. I mean, obviously there's an investigation into it, and I don't know all the details. But if I had to side with one side on this, I would never side with the NCAA.
Of course not. Nobody does. And the NCAA is losing more power with every day that goes
That's
by.
ridiculous.
So I guess kind of grasping on to any ounce of power they can.
Going back to this really quickly. Now, let me understand make sure I'm clear on this. He had to graduate and he didn't finish his classwork, or he didn't get the credits that he needed to graduate.
He has not yet graduated, so he's still considered an undergrad student at this point in time. Had he graduated from the most recent school, which would have been Kent State, this transfer wouldn't have been an issue. But considering he's an undergrad, has already played at 2 places, you get the one-time free transfer rule. That's not an issue, and a lot of players will end up transferring if there's a coaching change, which is what happened at Kent State. But they are not granting you immediate eligibility just because there's a coaching change if you've already been at another school.
So there's several different twists and turns throughout this eligibility.
Yes.
And obviously, from what we're hearing, he has to take some responsibility for not completing his coursework, if I'm understanding that correctly.
At this point in time, and this is an article from On3 from back in March about the NCAA. They sent out a memo regarding undergraduate transfer waiver processes. The organization indicates that an undergraduate transfer will not be approved if a student athlete is attempting to transfer for a second time due to a coaching change. Again, undergraduate transfer, which again is why they put in the extra part about the stress and anxiety, being away from sick family members as that means of getting eligibility. So ultimately, that's what they're denying is, hey, we know your mom's sick, we know your grandma's sick. That's not enough for us to grant you eligibility. That's essentially what this is saying.
Oh man, the NCAA, enforcer of all rules, hardline rule followers.
Absolutely. With no soul.
Right. Meanwhile, Will Wade is out there coaching.
Yeah.
Rick Pitino just got a new job.
And this is nothing new. A couple years ago, Luke Ford, who was a tight end at Georgia from Illinois, attempted to transfer to Illinois to be closer to his sick grandfather. And they denied his eligibility immediately because they're like, yeah, that's not good enough for us.
That's pretty bold. That's pretty bold. And I'm sure they're saying, well, you know, if we do this, then everybody's gonna. And it's like, okay, fine. If everybody else is transferring, what's this particular issue? Now, again, I am assuming. I'm not even assuming it's legit. If he says it's legit, it's whatever. The NCAA does not have the track record or moral grounds to stand on as to the enforcer of rules and authority.
And for Tez Walker specifically, a lot of people are pointing to the fact that he never got to play at North Carolina Central because their season was canceled due to COVID. Yes, he was a part of that team, but there was no season. So it's like, okay, this is a special situation that maybe you can make an exemption for. And UNC has appealed this and trying to see if something can change between now and when the season starts. No promises on that, obviously, but that is certainly one of those situations that you would think the NCAA would be like, okay, yeah, you didn't get to play at North Carolina Central, so technically you've only played for Kent State. We can grant you that eligibility on these grounds. But
right.
They obviously decided not to.
This is where, again, if I was a North Carolina fan, I'd be pretty furious right now.
Well, this is really big for their offense because they lost their two primary wide receivers last year in Josh Downs and Antoine Green, who combined for 1,800 yards of offense and 18 touchdowns. Their leading returning receiver is J.J. Jones, who got 434 and 2 touchdowns. So they bring in Tez Walker as well as transfer from Georgia Tech in Nate McCullum to be kind of their two main wide receivers. Now, I've not heard anything about McCullum having any problems with this transfer, so he should be fine. But Des Walker was expected to be the guy.
Maybe it's be one of the situations where the NCAA works very slowly, and they's like, all right, we finally got it cleared up after game 1. Game 2, we got it scheduled, and he can play the rest of the year, and he just missed the game against us.
And for South Carolina, that is definitely a big benefit because that is a key target for Drake May that is probably not going to be there in game number 1.
No doubt. And this is a situation where, yeah, man, it's really, really tough. But if you're trying to go through the NCAA to get any square idea of what they're going to do in any situation, you won't know.
Yeah, 24 days is a pretty tight turnaround. I wouldn't expect anything to change between now and then.
Yeah, because look how long it took them to come to this ruling.
Right. Yeah, literally, he was like fully expecting, like, all right, I'm going to get to play. And that took Mac Brown talked about it. That was surprising to him and the entire staff. Like, oh, wow, we thought this dude was going to get to play, but I guess not.
Yeah, that's a tough situation. Yeah, in any situation, I would not rule on the side of the NCAA, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll certainly keep an eye on it, see if anything changes between now and then. But as of right now, Tez Walker not eligible to play in week number 1. Come back on the other side, wrap up hour number 1. An interesting Facebook memory popped up for me last night, and little did I know it would actually kind of have connections to what I'm doing here at 107.5 The Game. Talk about that coming up next. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
Friday, August 25th, join 107.5 The Game for our football kickoff golf tournament. Our summer golf classic at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. 9:30 shotgun start. $100 a person, $400 for a team. Call Charwood at 803-755-2000. Lunch provided by Firehouse Subs. We'll be raffling off football tickets, Carowinds passes, and more. Our football kickoff tournament, the Summer Golf Classic, Friday, August 25th, from your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Person here for Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshields, no problem. They'll come out to your location to replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. So if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Sponsored by Security Federal Bank, helping people, changing lives since 1922. Member FDIC.
If you think all banks are the same, come experience the difference at Security Federal Bank. Security Federal Bank has unmatched customer service and a hometown feel because we're a hometown bank. Security Federal Bank, helping people, changing lives. Member FDIC.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. In the morning, Taco Bell keeps it toned down and simple, like the Breakfast Crunch Wrap, with fluffy eggs, sausage, melty cheese, and a crispy hash brown in a grilled tortilla. Nothing too wild, just delicious. Taco Bell breakfast, served until 11 a.m.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's a $7,500 sign-on bonus and increased pay for most security positions. Start a rewarding new career with great benefits today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply now or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
Trucks, we want trucks. New Silverados are on the ground now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet. We're taking up to $15,000 off to get you in your new truck. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new roads at Herndon Chevrolet or visit us online at herndonchevy.com today. Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail, the ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional grade products. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Have you heard about the power of print? Today and every day, our customers print bulletins, newsletters, memos, letters, training manuals, envelopes, workbooks, lesson plans, proposals, invoice, advertising pieces, marketing material, posters, and every application you can imagine on a copier, printer, duplicator, or wide format plotter from Simplified Office Systems. The power of print will get your message heard. This is Kevin Hunter. My family and I are proud to lead the team of professionals at SOS. We are a local South Carolina-based company that provides sales, service, and support throughout the entire state of South Carolina. Our company offers a wide variety of copier and printer products from HP, Toshiba, Riso, and Epson to meet every need, application, and budget. We can even wrap your new device in a Carolina logo. Before you commit to a new copier in your office, contact SOS to see what a difference our products, programs, and people can make for you. Call 888-914-7476 or visit mysimplifiedoffice.com today.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Just one accident to let you know about, and that's Alpine Road at Windsor Lake Boulevard. So let's hope that your commute stays as painless as possible this morning. Mainly sunny today, looking for a high of 94. And then tomorrow, could see some morning storms, 94 for the high, 93 on Friday. Again, a chance for some isolated storms. 74 right now, 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler, Preston, and Jen along with you on this Wednesday morning. Yesterday, I had a Facebook memory pop up for me. I always love these because it reminds you of things that you've forgotten about. It was a picture of a football field, Clark Central High School's football field, back from August the 8th, 2018. Now, this was before a preseason scrimmage game. They were getting set to take on T.L. Hanna High School. I was on the call for the local Georgia student radio station at the time. Do you know who was on that T.L. Hanna team at that point in time?
I do specifically. I didn't know where you were going with that, but I do now. Go ahead.
That'd be Mr. Zach Pickens.
Yeah.
Now, he had recently committed to South Carolina because that was the buzz going into that game. Wow, there's South Carolina commit playing on T.L. Hanna.
Was Georgia in the running? I mean, I'm assuming they were. But
I'm assuming they were. I don't remember specifically, but he had already committed to South Carolina because this was his senior year. So all week we're like, oh, we're going to get to see the Zach Pickens guy play. Can't wait to see what he's going to be. And again, this is a preseason scrimmage, but still, that night, do you know what he did?
Did it involve offense?
Not quite, but he did a lot of scoring himself.
Okay.
So he had a fumble recovery touchdown and also scored a safety that night. And I believe they won the game like, I don't know. It was a very low scoring game, but he scored most of the points for them. I want to say it was like 11-7 or something. So he scored like 8 of those points.
If that was Zach's senior year, that team went on to play in the state championship. I don't know if they won it, but I know they went on to play in the state championship. And in that game, he had a pick 6.
Yeah, I
believe it. That I saw in person.
But that was kind of one of those things. And I want to say Clark Central was like 4A in Georgia high school. So at that point in time, so we saw a fair amount of good athletes in those games that they played, but he was just on a different level, bigger than everybody else on the field, faster than everybody else on the field. Like, it was pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, and for you, maybe not necessarily as familiar with the geography of South Carolina, you know, T.L. Hanna is essentially in Clemson, right? And so for us to win that recruiting battle was a big win for us. And as you've seen, it's no coincidence that the guy who had a fumble recovery, a safety, I saw him in the state championship. He had a pick 6. What do you know? 5 years later, he ends up drafted by the Chicago Bears in the 3rd round.
Exactly.
That's kind of how that ends up working.
Yeah, no, it was really cool to get to see him play back then, and didn't really think anything of it until and obviously watched him playing at South Carolina his past couple of years. But now I'm like, wow, I'm here, and that's pretty crazy connection. But yeah, excited to see what he's going to do with the Bears this season. But we thought it was kind of odd to have a team from South Carolina coming in to play a preseason scrimmage because their head coach, and his name's escaping me at this point in time, he had been at Grayson in Georgia a couple years before. They'd won the state championship in 2016 with, funny enough, Chase Bryce as their quarterback. And then he went on to T.L. Hanna. So I imagine there was some connection, some relationship with Coach Perno, who's the head coach at Clark Central High School, and I imagine that's how that game came.
I'm glad that worked out because sometimes you can see a big time recruit coming in, especially a lineman, D lineman.
Yeah,
he'd be like, he's not really going after it today.
Well, and in a preseason game, it wouldn't have been surprising. They said, "Hey, bud, sit this one out. You're good. Wait for week 1 of the season." Now he went out there that night and he balled out. He dominated that game from start to finish.
Yeah. Also, T.L. Hanna ran the wishbone, I believe, and
They did run the wishbone.
And he was one of the backs in the bone.
I believe I remember him getting in on offense. I don't think he scored that way.
Yeah,
though.
he was one of the up backs for sure.
Just a monster of an athlete, and obviously we saw what he did here at South Carolina. Excited to see what he's going to do at the NFL now.
Absolutely.
All right, hour number 2 coming up. We'll hear some more player audio from yesterday's media availability. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is Jalen Nichols from South Carolina football. You're listening to 107.5 The Game, home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Hello and welcome to The Kroger Show. At Kroger, everyone wins when it comes to saving big. Because when you order online through the Kroger app, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards on pickup or delivery that you do in-store with no hidden fees or markups. So no matter how you shop, you'll always save big at Kroger. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Now's a great time to save on select varieties of Kroger cheese. 6 to 8 ounce packages are 3 for $5 with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more or call them at 803-520-6837 and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips for our good friends at Cato's Power Equipment. I've been telling you for a while now how excited I am about my new Toro mower with the 30-inch deck. I've cut my mowing time in half. I like doing yard work, but I don't want to spend all day doing it, especially this time of year. Whether you cut your own backyard or you do it for a living, see Cato's Power Equipment for excellent sales, service, and advice. And right now, Cato's is offering a great opportunity if you're looking for something new. $250 to $1,000 rebates on all of their zero-turn mowers. All you need to do is stop in, see Ben, Matt, and the crew, 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, where Cato's has been since 1983. Like I said, whether you're doing it for a living, you do it for yourself, Cato's has been Columbia's leader in helping folks get all of their yard work done and a whole lot more. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, always online at catospowerequipment.com. No matter what you need for getting it done outside, go to Cato's Power Equipment.
What you're talking about.
On 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. No hassles, no all-day runarounds, no ridiculous add-on stickers. At Love Chevy, buying a car is fun. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game.
With Bill Gunter.
South Carolina receiver Juice Wells and his dog Sosa have signed an NIL deal with the Farmer's Dog. It's a brand of, I don't have a
highfalutin dog food.
This dog Sosa needs to go on a diet.
He's not.
Have you seen this dog?
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
So in that commercial, I don't think Sosa really enjoyed that commercial much because he has to run up a hill, and I don't know if he was very happy about running up that hill. The dog food must be tremendous.
And Jen Jensen.
He ran up the hill because there was a cupcake at the top of the hill. That's what it was.
Shout out to Sosa.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Is this the Inspector Gadget theme song?
It is a sample of the Inspector Gadget theme song.
Exactly.
It is a sample of that. Is from.
Oh, I see now. It's Dougie Fresh. Okay.
That's from the show by Dougie Fresh.
I see.
Hip hop legendary, celebrated 50 years of hip hop, and Dougie Fresh is one of the luminaries of the great genre.
I'd never heard this version before, but I like Inspector Gadget. That was my movie back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And even though I did like the movie, the cartoon. That's why sampling is so cool because it blends generations together.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it.
So you was just all movie.
I was just all movie. The Matthew Broderick. They made two of them.
Interesting. I didn't know they made two.
The second one, it was like they had a female Inspector Gadget. I didn't watch that one as much.
Oh, was
the
that,
first one?
Was that Melissa McCarthy?
No, it was actually Elaine Hendricks. Which, funny enough, I was actually in a movie with her one time.
Wait,
that's
what?
its own separate story.
Oh, okay. Oh, and I was walking down the street and picked up a quarter, and I was in a movie with so and so. I'm sorry, what?
Okay, story time. So, are you familiar with who Elaine Hendricks is? Have you ever seen The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's Meredith Blake.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I know her name doesn't like pop off the page, but that's what
Typically.
people
And yet
mainly
she's really
know her
good
for.
at playing that ugly.
She
person,
is. So I was in 6th grade. I had played. I played baseball every single spring, but my recreation team from that spring got the opportunity to be in the background or to be in a part of a movie that was being shot locally. And this is back in Georgia. They were shooting in Decatur, which is Decatur, where it's greater, about 30 minutes from where I grew up in Covington. And I don't remember the exact connection. I think it was one of the parents on the team knew somebody within the film industry. And essentially, they were looking for a baseball team for this one scene in this movie, because in this movie, the Elaine Hendricks, her character was married to Luke Perry in this movie. Funny enough, got to meet him too. That was really cool. And their kid was on a baseball team, and they had this one scene in the movie where they needed a team for him to play. So they got our team. We went up there it was like at this church. They had a baseball field behind it. This scene in the movie lasted all of like 20 seconds. We were there for like 7 hours.
That's how they say filming
It
is.
literally took all day to shoot this very brief scene. I was 11 years old. I got to skip a day of school. We got paid $20 to be there. They had an entire table full of like snacks and food.
Craft services.
So it
Best
was
part.
I was gonna say it was basically a little glimpse into the glory of heaven. Like there
Oh,
it is,
exactly.
man.
And it's funny, like as soon as we got off, like I think we took a bus up there. As soon as we got off the bus, like we immediately went to the snack table. They're like, well, no. We're here all day. Like, chill out. You gotta
Yeah, but there's
save
food
that for
right
later.
now, and I'm 11.
Exactly. Now we thought like we were gonna like go there because there was another team there as well that was like the team that the actor was supposed to be on, but they just sat in the dugout the whole time. Like we were actually out in the field. We assumed like, oh, we're gonna get to play baseball. They're gonna use like scenes from it for the movie. No, we literally stood in the same spots, and they moved the cameras around, they moved us around, and like we just sat there, and like one of our pitchers would throw a pitch and the kid would swing and miss, and then they'd reset everything and they'd do it over again and over again. And like I said, it took like 7 hours.
Yeah, you figured out that filmmaking wasn't as glorious. The magic was kind of like, oh,
It
okay.
wasn't. Now, like we had time to like goof off and stuff because they would do like close-up shots and like again kind of reset everything. So we had time to just like hang out, talk to this kid actor that was pretending to be a baseball player that day, and it was pretty cool. The movie went straight to DVD, so it wasn't like anything that was in the theaters or anything. But I have the DVD somewhere, and I can see myself in the background, kind of blurrily for all of like 5 seconds. But
So
that's my claim to fame.
Do you have an IMDb page? Or?
I do not. The
Okay.
movie does.
Okay.
The movie's called Good Intentions. Like I said, Elaine Hendricks, Luke Perry, Leanne Rimes also in it. Got to meet her as well. That was really cool. So a lot of star power in that movie.
Solid.
So that's my claim to fame.
Okay, I did not anticipate that happening today.
That's incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
What a fun story.
So and I don't. How do we get on this?
That's a good question. Let's walk it backwards. We were talking Elaine Hendricks, Parent Trap. I don't know.
Were we in baseball?
We weren't
Is that
talking baseball.
Inspector Gadget. That's what it
Inspector
was.
Gadget. Okay,
There
but
you go.
Inspector Gadget,
she
Dougie
was
Fresh,
in-
the show.
She was in the
intro
second
music. All right.
Inspector
There
Gadget
we
movie.
go.
Okay,
there
that's
we
it.
go.
So
we got there.
somewhere I have pictures at my parents' house of like me with Luke Perry, Leanne Rimes. It's really cool.
Absolutely.
I did not, I guess, understand their star power at that point in time. I'd never seen like 90210 or anything
Yeah,
like
I
that.
guess
But
so.
in years later, and obviously Luke Perry passed away a couple years ago, I was like, wow, that was
Yeah.
pretty cool to get to meet him.
For
That was
sure.
pretty neat.
Mhm.
For sure.
Getting back to football.
No problem.
So that's always a fun story to tell because people are like, "Oh, what? tell me about this." But yes, that's my Hollywood claim to fame, I guess. Getting back to football again, we did hear from a lot of players yesterday. One of those being Trey Knox, who is of course a new member to this team, and tight ends are one position group that we are very, very excited about coming into the season. Here's Trey Knox talking about his relationship that he's been able to cultivate with Spencer Rattler so far. Cut number 3.
Is very, very confident, man. I think he's filling the shoes and running the show a lot better this camp, having really, really good practices. And I think that just credit to Coach Loggins, coaching him up and letting him feel confident, feel like he can just, do whatever he wants to, man. As long as it's the right decision. And he's been protecting the ball a lot better. And I think that was like his number one emphasis, was to value the ball highly. And he's doing a great job at that. So, I mean, he's having a great camp so far, and I'm just lucky I get to play with a quarterback talent.
Again, that was Trey Knox yesterday talking to the media about his relationship with Spencer Rattler. We obviously saw these two guys connecting a little bit in the spring game because they happen to be on the same team. We saw the clip of Josh Simon the other day at camp making the catch against Jalen Kilgore. So tight end's going to be utilized very, very well this season. Obviously, hopefully a lot more than they did last season. When you look at the athleticism and the size of both Trey Knox and Josh Simon, a lot of reason to get excited about this position.
Trey sounds like a coach.
He does.
He's very good coach speak. He was talking about the carryover, and he's talking about what they did before and the previous. And I was like, and he also sounds like which is not surprising. He's a very strong advocate for Dow Loggins.
Yes,
and the new offense and what that sort of looks like. So yeah, that's great because I was curious to see how that would look last year with Spencer being new to the offense, new to the team. It's difficult to take on that leadership position.
Sure.
Being the new guy that everybody knows, the hot shot. It's just he was in a tough position last year, I think. And so this year, I'm sure he's a lot more comfortable with his teammates and just with the surroundings than he was last year for sure.
My question, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and you had the case of both Spencer Rattler and Juice Wells coming in as transfers last season, and it did take them a lot of the season to really start connecting on a consistent basis. Had that great game against Arkansas in week number 2, but everything after that was a little bit more spotty until they got to the end of the season, started putting together those great 100+ yard performances. My question is there going to be an acclimation process once we get into the season for these new tight ends, given the fact that they are new to this roster? Or is the fact that this entire offense is new and everything is, being put together at the same time with these guys having already been on campus, will that acclimation process not be as big of a concern?
I don't think it'll be as big of a concern, mostly because it's a brand new offense. And also these guys are veterans at their positions. Both of them are older on the team. Trey already played in the offense. He's been in the SEC. Josh is a 5th or 6th year guy.
Yep.
So they're already veterans. They've seen a lot of football. They know how to adapt and adjust around the changes that happen in football. I would be a little bit more concerned if they were younger guys necessarily. But these old guys, they can figure their way around the offense.
One more cut here from Trey Knox yesterday. This cut number 4, talking about impressions through camp so far.
Play has been a lot better. Boys are looking nasty out there and playing with a lot of fire and grit. Respect to those boys. They work their butt off every day, grinding in the meeting room, and you can tell it shows on the field. So, and I mean, we go as they go. We live and die by the front 5. So having them playing well means that it'll help everybody else play well. The receiver room is, coming along. Guys are playing their butts off, man, blocking. And that's the biggest thing, is playing without the ball. And they're doing a good job at that. Really, the whole offense is looking a lot better. And we just got to keep playing with the passion and the fire. And I think we'll be fine.
Says that front 5's looking nasty.
Okay. All right, Trey. I just gave you a compliment now. I'm not going to take it back. But as residence defensive guy, looking nasty on what, Trey? On air? Because you're not blocking anybody. We don't have pads on yet. So I don't know how nasty the offensive line can look without actually blocking them. And talking about the wide receivers blocking, relax. That was very offensive slanted that Trey was doing with that conversation right there.
He's got to rep his boys on the offensive side.
No doubt. I'm sure they've been watching film, and I'm sure they're very eager. Because here's the deal. It cannot be that the offensive line is looking nasty and them boys is really blocking. Because automatically, as a defensive guy, I say, well, what's happening with the defense? Are they getting beat up? Are they getting road graded around the field? So that was a very typical offensive response, and talking about, oh, man, we look great on air. These plays everybody's looking really crisp. Slow down.
I picked that out specifically because I knew you're probably going to have that kind of response to it.
Thank you for getting me riled up, sir. Just offensive guys, slow down a little bit. Yes, all the plays look great on air. You're running around and nobody's touching anybody. You're running your tracks. The offensive linemen are grunting. All right, relax. Well, let's see when we put a defense out there.
Preston Thorne telling Trey Knox pump the brakes a little bit on that one.
Listen, as you all listen to me, just know that I'm always going to take the defensive side, and that's just what it's going to be.
So very excited to see what Trey Knox is going to be able to do in this offense this year. As we talked about, I don't think a guy who's concerned about how much we throw to the tight ends is going to be asking as many questions this year.
Yeah, he's going to be happy. throw to the tight end guy. We'll be happy because we have 2 of them, and from all indications that they're tremendous.
Absolutely. And so, again, we got plenty more audio to play throughout the morning. But that was Trey Knox, a little bit inside of what he saw through camp so far. Coming up next, and Wes and Chris specifically asked me to bring this up to you. We had a conversation about depth charts yesterday, something that Preston Thorne is very, very passionate about. Something came up yesterday on 2 different fronts that I want to get your take on. We'll talk about that coming up next. You are listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
How would you like season tickets to all Gamecocks football games, baseball games, men's and women's basketball games?
Well, now you can.
It's the ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
Not feeling like yourself? Call the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS. You can win tickets to every USC football game at Williams-Brice.
South Carolina punctuates a massive upset.
Every Gamecock baseball game at Founders Park.
The Gamecocks strike first, a 2-run shot from Ethan Petrie.
Every men's and women's hoops games at the CLA.
One undefeated team left in the nation. It's the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Just go to 1075thegame.com and register to win the ultimate season ticket giveaway, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, from your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
This is former science with the CBS Sports Minute. When Bill Belichick was asked who would he have liked to coach with, he said, put Paul Brown at the top of the list. And I would agree with that, folks. Belichick told the 33rd team he admired the creative way Brown worked to see things and figure out how it would disrupt the defense. Adding Tom Landry was like that, too. Again, I agree. I'm Boomer and Science. CBS Sports Radio.
Dad, I don't feel good.
I'll grab the Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey.
Isn't DayQuil just for parents?
Actually, Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey is just for kids, specially designed to treat kids' most bothersome cold symptoms quickly with a honeylicious tasting flavor kids like.
You know what else kids like?
DayQuil Kids Honey first, then video games.
Deal.
Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey. The kids' honeylicious daytime coughing, congestion, stuffy head, stuffy nose medicine. Safe for ages 6+.
I've been taking Nutrafol 4.5 years.
My hair was thinning.
I was under a lot of stress.
I like Nutrafol because it's drug-free and the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement.
My hair feels thicker,
stronger.
Nutrafol has taken me back to the hair I was meant to have.
Join the 1 million people growing at Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Paid for by Nutraceutical Wellness, Inc.
Sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free, so you can drive with peace of mind. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Have you ever had an important message get caught in the digital dumpster in the form of spam folders, spam filters, and outright accidental deletion? Did your message get lost in the hundreds of emails in the inbox? The best way to get through the digital dumpster is to put a printed paper in a person's palm. They will see your message and remember your message because you stood out from the digital noise in our daily lives. This is Kevin Hunter. My family and I are proud to lead the team of professionals at SOS. We are a local company that provides sales, support, and service throughout the state of South Carolina. Our company offers a wide variety of copier and printer products from HP, Toshiba, Riso, and Epson to meet every need, application, and budget. We can even wrap your new device in a Carolina logo. Before you commit to a new copier in your office, contact SOS to see what a difference our products, programs, and people can make for you. Call 888-914-7476 or visit mysimplifiedoffice.com today.
Ollie wants you to hit a hole-in-one for Oliver Gospel Mission. You're invited to the 15th Annual Charity Classic. Your whole sign, a team of 4, will give meals and care for hungry neighbors in our community. That's why we need your church, business, or group of friends to help us golf for good this October 2nd. Go to olivergospel.org to see how you can volunteer and sponsor today.
Carlton called. Want to know if you got your SAG card when you're in that movie.
Gutters can cost thousands of dollars in damage to your home's foundation. Canty Foundation can replace your gutters and save you money.
Perfect.
Gutter shutter.
Call us today for your free inspection.
Can't they can fix it?
Having a reliable gutter system is essential to protecting your home's interior and exterior. Heavy rain can unleash gallons of water onto your home, and poorly maintained or leaky gutters could lead to roofing, siding, and water damage that is expensive to repair or replace. Online at candygutters.com.
The 2023 Gamecock football season is almost here. We need you to help us paint Charlotte garnet and black on Saturday, September 2nd. Your South Carolina Gamecocks kick off the 2023 football season against the University of North Carolina Tar Heels in the Dukes Mayo Classic at Bank of America Stadium. Visit GamecocksOnline.com today to secure your tickets and help us paint Charlotte garnet and black on Saturday, September 2nd. Go Gamecocks!
Okay, so you're a guy. You don't feel as young as you used to. You're kind of dragging. No life drive, no sex drive. You have brain fog. You're not sleeping well. All sorts of stuff is going sideways. But you don't want to talk to anybody because we're guys. There's someone you can talk to. Dr. Dan Botnight at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Because honestly, what you could be going through could simply be low testosterone. One way to find out. A free consultation at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, 803-875-MENS, or online, themensclinicsc.com.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
The Jets are bracing themselves into doing Hard Knocks this year.
Bracing themselves. Look, coaches want to control the controllables. They don't want to have a camera crew in the building. You know, I know that they want to lie low. This is what happens when you go and swing for the fences and get Aaron Rodgers. Are you kidding me?
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Working that earlier accident, Alpine Road at Windsor Lake Boulevard. Also a disabled vehicle, I-26 eastbound just after exit 91. Sunny and 94 today, 94 tomorrow with some morning storms. And could see some pop-up isolated storms, 93 for Friday. It's 74 right now at 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Depth charts, okay? Preseason depth charts, which there's nothing wrong with them in theory, but for what we do here, and you guys hear me talk about it all the time, like every day we're evaluating. Every day is important. And I am of principle that players decide where they're at on the field. In doing that, preseason depth charts are like my nemesis. Because I just make sure that they have every player on the team. But to sit here and say this person is that stuff, we are rotating guys, giving guys, I put a precedent on giving guys the opportunity and having them decide where they stand.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. That was the voice of Mike McDaniel, the head coach for the Miami Dolphins, talking about preseason depth charts as most NFL teams getting ready to start their preseason games later on this week. Preston, I've been informed you are very passionate about the topic of depth charts.
I did not know this was going to be my thing. And the more I hear coaches talk, the more I'm just going to have to fight back against the opaqueness that these coaches continue to just trot out to us like depth charts don't matter when they clearly do. They clearly matter.
Sure.
I saw a video yesterday, and it was Tua Tagovailoa throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
Was that the second string team of the Miami Dolphins?
No.
No, it was the first group. It was the first unit because they are on the first part of that depth chart.
Yes.
There's 90 men right now on NFL rosters. Cut day hasn't come yet.
Right.
Tell number 40 through 90 that depth charts don't matter. We're just going to, I don't even think about depth charts. Every person in that locker room is thinking about the depth charts.
Now, is it a sense of the coaches not wanting to tip their hand on what their team's going to look like this early?
We don't know what the team's going to look like. The teams change every day. And that's what to his point, yes, you are evaluating every day. And every single day, the depth chart comes up. They're going to say, Tyler, you with the second string today. Preston, go to scout team. And I'm going to be thinking, man, I'm about to get cut today.
Right.
This is going to be it. I know I'm not going to make it. If I'm running on the third team, I'm not going to. And then he's like, well, we like to give the players a chance to. Man, get out of here, Mike. I didn't know that this was going to be something that I had to take up, but coaches quit it, man. Quit with that.
How long has this been a passion topic for you?
I don't know when it started. I believe it started when shout out to Monterio Hardesty, great job with the running backs. I think I started when he had 2 oars on his depth chart.
I see.
Out of 3 running backs.
So Wes and Chris did talk about that last year. I think it was last season where they had multiple oars.
There were multiple oars, but there was only 3 running backs. So it was like, who's going to be the starter? Him or him or him. Okay. That doesn't give us any indication. And then they would play little games. Last year, they would move people up and down the depth chart and say it didn't matter, but the depth chart would change week to week. It's like, oh, it doesn't matter, but it is changing. Why is it changing? And then maybe if I really think about it, it even goes back further to Will Muschamp, because what he did in typical Muschamp fashion, he didn't change the depth chart at all.
Yeah, it didn't matter if somebody's out with an injury for the entire season. He's still on there.
Still starting. Still second string.
It's like, I'm pretty sure that guy transferred.
Yeah.
But
So I haven't found a satisfactory way for coaches to do their depth charts, but I do know that Mike McDonald and all these other coaches that are saying that it doesn't matter, I have issue with this.
When you say it doesn't matter, I automatically think of The Rock. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It does matter.
Speaking of oars, this is how we got on the topic yesterday. So the Tampa Bay Bucks put out their depth chart yesterday, and Rick Stroud, who covers them for the Tampa Bay Times, tweeted this out, and he said the Bucks depth chart has Baker
Mayfield or
Kyle Trask.
So if you have Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, that means you have 2 non-competing quarterbacks. Neither one of them is going to be good. I'm looking at the ESPN right now. I see the Jets. There's 2 quarterbacks. It's Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson. It's not Aaron Rodgers or Zach Wilson. Carolina Panthers, Bryce Wilson, and Andy Dalton. It's not or Andy Dalton. So when you're a coach and you put the word or, you automatically let me know that either one, you don't have very much confidence in the first guy,
right,
or nobody is very good.
Yeah, they say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback.
It's very clear.
And the funny thing about this was, again, this was Rick Stroud tweeting this out for the Tampa Bay Times. Adam Schefter, NFL insider Adam Schefter, tweets out, never seen or on a depth chart. So all of our friends that cover college sports was like, buddy, you have no idea. Because this is a common occurrence on college depth charts.
Yeah, but I don't know why we do it on college depth charts. I assume maybe it's for morale purposes. Like, hey, man, you never know. It might be you or,
yeah,
you know.
Well, and I talked about not really wanting to tip your hand in the NFL. In the NFL, you have preseason games, and you can usually assume who the starters are going to be most of the time. But with college, you don't have preseason games. You just hit the ground running in week number 1. You obviously have guys coming in as recruits, guys coming in from the transfer portal. So heading into that first game, there can be a lot of question marks of who's going to be playing where and who's going to be the starter. So keeping that in the dark as long as you can, I could see that being a little bit of a strategy play.
Sounds like the beginning of a Thorns, Buzzard, Roses. But I got an or for Tampa Bay.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether it's Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. They are both garbage. Neither one of them will be any good.
You're telling me they're not going to be as good as Tom Brady?
I am telling you, Baker Mayfield and or Kyle Trask will both lead this team to a subpar 500 record this year.
Yeah, if your options are down between anybody and Baker Mayfield, you're probably not doing too
They're
great.
down bad for sure. And I mean, people at Florida didn't even want Kyle Trask to play.
Yeah.
Did he never panned out. So yeah.
Now he was better than Felipe Franks.
Well,
which it's funny because
congratulations.
Like, if Felipe Franks didn't get hurt, we would have never known anything about Kyle Trask.
It's true.
Dan Mullen just had this guy buried on his depth chart.
That's true. I again, Schefter, clearly, we don't even know if Schefter watches the NFL anymore, right? He's just a guy that floats around and gets hot takes and information. We don't know what he actually knows about football. That's one. Then two, he clearly doesn't watch college football, because if you're involved in college football, you've seen this before.
Yeah, so that was funny. That got Wes and Chris riled up a little bit yesterday, but they specifically requested that I bring up depth charts to you because of how passionate you are about it.
I didn't know this was going to be my I didn't know, but I think this is going to be my singular passion. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the depth chart, and we're going to see how it changes throughout this fall camp.
Yeah,
and we're going to see whether or not it matters, because the coaches will continuously tell her that it does not matter, and especially in the NFL, what is the difference between am I making a bunch of money or am I going home? Yeah. That's what the depth chart matters.
Ask me the question, what's your depth chart?
What's your depth chart?
It doesn't matter what your depth chart is.
That's what Mike McDonald could have said, but he didn't. Of course, Mike McDonald, and I don't know where I'm going with him. I thought I liked his quirkiness. But it might be starting to grate on me a little bit, so I don't know where I'm going with that.
He's different.
He is.
He's very
different. And I respect
different.
that. You know what? I'm gonna stay true to it. I respect, because I always get on here and I talk about coaches being boring and not saying anything, and so I have to stay with that. I'm cool with Mike McDonald. It's just, come on, man.
McDaniel's a very smart guy.
Mike McDaniel, my fault.
He just always sounds like he just woke up.
Yeah.
It's very funny coming from a head coach of a.
It doesn't feel like
team.
it's very head coachish, but I mean, obviously he has the mind. That's what everybody has him in place for. But yeah, to say that, well, we just give guys opportunity. We don't decide the depth chart; they do. No, that's not true.
Yeah,
that's not true. The coaches decide the depth chart, and the amount of opportunities you get,
right,
is based on where you stand on the depth chart. If you're on the third team, you're not getting as many snaps as the second team or as the first team. Or even better, if you're a third team receiver and you're playing with the third string quarterback, you think you're going to be getting great balls to catch? You think you're going to be wide open? And no. So a lot of times you get buried down on the depth chart, and you look around, you're like, oh, I must be sorry too, because I know he's sorry. I'm on the sorry team now. What happened?
Preston Thorne, passionate about depth charts.
I just know I've been on every position on the depth chart. I've been on third team, second team, first team.
It matters.
The air is different on each spot. I'm just telling you.
We'll stick with the NFL coming up next. Are players getting too soft?
Oh, Tyler, you're on a roll.
We'll talk about
you're
that.
On a roll.
We'll talk about that next on the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Hey, it's Jen, and I'm telling you, CHW Cabinetry was the best thing that came to us once we had that flood in the house from the pipes that burst on Christmas Eve. They made life so much better when it came to finding out about kitchen cabinetry, what to do, and the whole process. It was so much better. They helped us find the cabinets that we liked. They helped us put that puzzle piece together to get everything coordinated. And then all we had to do was wait for the installation. And the installation team could not have been any better. This is a fantastic company. CHW Cabinetry in Lexington, women-owned. They are locally owned, and every piece of the process went so very well. The photorealistic renderings that they give you once you figure out what your design is going to be, that is so helpful because you can really see. I mean, it's hard to visualize what your kitchen's going to look like from just some kind of a blueprint or something like that. But these photorealistic renderings, they make such a difference in helping you say, yep, this is exactly what we want. And that helped us then figure out the rest of the pieces as far as doing backsplash and countertops and all of those things. So it's been a great experience for us. We are so thrilled. I encourage you to call them if you're looking for cabinets for your kitchen or maybe even an outdoor kitchen. CHWCabinetry.com is the website. Give them a call, 803-520-6837. And of course, be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Heath here with Jacob Crowder from First Palmetto Bank. Summer's here and the real estate market's heating up. And if you're building or buying a new home, you need to contact 107.5's longtime mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder. If you've ever needed a guru, it's in this market. First Palmetto Bank is owned and operated here in the Midlands with local decision makers. Processing and underwriting are made easy. If you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call, 803-719-1005, or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
Thanks, Heath. People are buying and building. With school out, we're seeing a lot of activity. Here at First Palmetto Bank, we have products that help home buyers keep payments down. Also, ask me about our refinance options that require zero money out of pocket. Finally, if you're considering building or renovating a home, please ask me about our no-nonsense construction loans. If I can help you, give me a call today, 803-719-1005.
You're making mortgages easy, doing refinances with no money out of pocket, and helping people build and renovate. If you're moving, make Jacob Crowder your first call, 803-719-1005.
Thanks, 107.5 listeners. You can also email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com. My NMLS number is 198432. First Palmetto Bank is a member of FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler Brown. If you or a loved one are over 65 and haven't completed a long-term care planning consultation, now is the time. Did you know that if you aren't able to afford the high cost of skilled care, your assets can be rapidly depleted to only $2,000 unless you plan 5 years in advance? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
What's up, Gamecock Nation? Matt Stedman, General Manager of Katos Power Equipment. Here with a couple of tips to help you avoid costly downtime with your lawnmower this season. Check your oil before every use and change your oil every 50 hours minimum. Check your air filter and debris for discoloration and replace it often. Fresh fuel is your best friend. Don't let fuel sit in your equipment or in your gas can for more than a week, and use non-ethanol fuel whenever possible. And remember, for repairs big and small, all your service needs, Katos Power Equipment is here to help at 803-254-3711.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hosting a career fair on Tuesday, August 29th from 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. in Columbia. Stop by the SCDC recruiting office at 4502 Broad River Road to discover the rewarding careers and great employee benefits available with SCDC. They're hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, teachers, mental health professionals, and more positions statewide. There's increased pay for many positions and sign-on bonuses starting at $7,500. Call 803-734-JOBS for more info.
School is back in session, and Galliana Chrysler Jeep has a lesson for you. 0 plus 0 equals 1. That's right. 0 down plus 0 payments until 2024 equals 1 amazing new Jeep. So go back to school in a car that's cool. Galliana Chrysler Jeep makes the deals other dealers won't. New Jeeps up to $16,500 off. Every Jeep Compass 20% off. And every Jeep Gladiator at employee pricing. Plus, qualified buyers put 0 down and make 0 payments until 2024. And you still get the Jeep Wave, including 3 oil changes and 3 tire rotations. Bring us any competitor's price or payment. The only deal we can't beat is the one we don't know about. Gotta go to Galliana. Make this the summer event at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. I-126 Zoo Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSC.com. Must lease through Ally for maximum savings on Grand Cherokee 4XE. Stock number 27139. 90 days deferred payments. Dealer rebates up to $500 per month till January. With approved credit. Offers don't combine. Expires month end.
Achieve an insanely clean home with Zerorez Carpet Cleaning. Call now and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game to get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129 or schedule online at zerorezcolumbia.com.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening along on this Wednesday. It's time for another First Alert Traffic update. There was an earlier accident, a minor one, on Interstate 26, but as of right now, we're looking live around the Midlands, and we're good as the morning has continued. Just your typical traffic flows you can anticipate on a Wednesday. And overall, if anything major does occur, of course, as you're listening along, we'll be sure to keep you posted with any new confirmed collisions. But otherwise, sunshine is breaking out. It's going to be a beautiful morning out there. Hope you got that pair of shades and you make it a safe travel Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Tony Chivaroli. This has been a WIS First Alert Traffic Check.
What you're talking about.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. 107.5 The Game.
It is the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Preston, Jen, along with you on this Wednesday morning, keeping with the topic of the NFL. One of the bigger moves this past offseason was Eric Bieniemy going from the Kansas City Chiefs to the Washington Commanders, retaining the same job as offensive coordinator. But Preston, there are some reports coming out over the past couple days that he's maybe not very well liked by his players through these first couple of days of camp. Ron Rivera, head coach, and players on the Commanders concerned over his intensity in practice. The ESPN article went on to note, every running back hears the same word, finish, on each carry. He sent the first offense off the field because it didn't get into the huddle fast enough. He's demanded the offense get in and out of the huddle quicker. These are just a couple of examples of the intensity that Eric Bieniemy has shown at Commanders camp. Come on, man, right?
I have to preface this whole conversation by saying I played for Lou Holtz.
Yes. Who was a very intense guy.
To say the least. This, I honestly don't know where to start with this. This is pretty amazing.
My question, how do you get to the highest level of professional football without having encountered a hard-nosed coach like this at some point?
Yeah, they obviously had to. First of all, we don't know who reported this or who's going up to them, but the idea they're going to the coach and say, hey coach, he's being a little bit tough on us. Come on, man.
Well, the idea that Ron Rivera, who's been to a Super Bowl himself, is coming and saying, well, we have players that are a little bit concerned with Bieniemy's intent. Like, coach, what are you doing?
Yeah, and that's definitely not from Ron Rivera, who's been known, he played on those great Bears teams, and he's known as a hard-nosed guy.
I don't think those coaches were very light on those guys.
Yeah. Ask Mike Ditka if the worst thing you could say to somebody is to finish a drill or to get in and out of the huddle faster. Yeah, this seems as if maybe it's a non-story. Maybe one or two people said it, but obviously Ron Rivera addressed it. The thing is, we know what we've seen Eric Bieniemy been successful with Kansas City.
Yes.
We've seen videos of him coaching at Kansas City. We know that he is, and I don't even know if this is considered intensity. This sounds like regular coaching.
Right.
Finish the drill. Get in and out of the huddle. Get the call. You don't get the call, get off. Come back. That's par for the course.
And this was brought up to Eric Bieniemy yesterday, and he's not backing down. Here's what he had to say.
Well, first of all, one thing I'm an open book, and I always invite players in. But also, too, as I've gone through this process, yes, I am intense. And I would be afraid, too, to start if I didn't know it. But on top of that, one thing they do appreciate is this. I'm always going to be upfront, and I'm always going to be honest. Just like I stated when I first got here, we all got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable, okay? There's some new demands and expectations that I expect. I expect us to be the team that we're supposed to be. It's not going to be easy, and everybody ain't going to like the process. But when it's all said and done with, my job is to make sure that we're doing it the right way. There's a way to do it. Now, do they understand that? Yes, because they're seeing the results. Will everybody buy in? I believe so. But if not, it's okay. Because you know what? My number one job is to help take these guys to another level. And I can see it.
Preston, let me ask this question. How many Super Bowl rings does Eric Bieniemy currently have?
2.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there may be a few guys on the Commanders roster that have been a part of Super Bowl teams that are now on the Commanders, but the vast majority of the Commanders roster, how many Super Bowl rings think they have?
None.
None. Right. So you have a guy that is coming from a system of success, the upper echelon of NFL football, to this organization that has had a lot of issues both on and off the field. Wouldn't you want to listen to everything that he has to say and do everything the way that he's saying it, because clearly he knows what success looks like?
Yeah, that's just what you're going to have to take. You're going to have to take the coaching, figure out, listen to what he says, and maybe not necessarily how he's saying it, even though even the examples that they gave, there was nothing even egregious in that. And then you take the coaching and you get better, because what we've done previously obviously was not working.
Right.
And so this does not seem as if it is going to be an issue, because I love how he said, the guys can buy in, and if they don't, that's okay.
Yeah.
And what he meant by that was, that's okay, because if you don't buy in, you'll be buying in somewhere else. We'll cut you.
Yeah.
You'll go somewhere else. This is not college. We don't have to keep you around. Sure, you don't want to buy into this process. You think it's a little bit too tough. There's 31 other organizations that will maybe take you or not.
And look, Eric Bieniemy is out to prove something this year.
Absolutely.
He has spent so many years underneath Andy Reid in Kansas City, and it's gotten a lot of acclaim for doing that, and has obviously been in the running for several head coaching jobs, not gotten any of those jobs because the counterpoint was, it's Andy Reid's system. Andy Reid's the one calling the plays. We don't really know what Eric Bieniemy is contributing to this team. He's going to the Commanders. He's going out on his own. He's going to be calling all the plays. This is truly going to be his offense. And like I said, he's got a point to prove this year, and he's not going to have any of these guys that aren't up to his level of intensity be a part of this offense.
Yeah, and there's the Gamecock tie in here with Travell Wharton. He's the offensive line coach up there with the Commanders, and I haven't spoken to Travell since camp has started. But what I do know about Travell would more than likely be the guy that's going to come and put their arm around somebody after they get blessed by Coach Bieniemy. Travell would probably end up being that guy that would end up explaining those things to them. And so he's the offensive line coach. He's there. But I also know Travell has no problem with intensity.
Sure.
He's been with Ron Rivera since the Panthers.
It's football.
Yeah, it's football. And the conversations that you have to have on a football field may not resemble the same way they will resemble another workplace. That's how things get done.
Let me know on the Firehouse Subs text line or the live stream, 803-404-6100. What is the most intense coach you've ever had in your athletic career? And Preston, we'll definitely get to your stories on the other side as well.
And I'm going into, you say that the way things are gotten done on the football field or in a practice or something are sometimes different from how things are handled in here. Bill complains about me being, about me being too rough or whatever. See, I think he's soft.
Maybe
you know what? You need to get in his ear more.
It might
I
be
think
true.
so.
It might be true.
I'm just thinking, because
Coach
obviously
Jensen's just a
it's
little bit too tough on me. I'm concerned. Terry Ford, if you're listening, I just need you to know that Jay Jensen's being a little rough on us from the control room.
You know what? He's coming back tomorrow. You need like a whistle tomorrow morning.
That would be great.
Just like surprise him with it.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, man, you're just going to have to take that coach. They're just going to have to take that coaching, because what you've been doing has not worked, and what he's been doing is working.
Right.
And it's a real simple conversation.
Exactly.
Let me know what your toughest coach was. Firehouse Subs text line 803-404-6100. We'll get some of Preston's stories coming up next on the early game on 107.5 The Game.
How would you like season tickets to all Gamecocks football games, baseball games, men's and women's basketball games?
Well, now you can.
It's the ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway.
Sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Not feeling like yourself? Call the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS. You can win tickets to every USC football game at Williams-Brice.
South Carolina punctuates a massive upset.
Every Gamecock baseball game at Founders Park.
The Gamecocks strike first. A 2-run shot
from Ethan Petrie. Every men's and women's hoops games at the CLA.
One undefeated team left in the nation. It's the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Just go to 1075thegame.com and register to win
The ultimate season ticket giveaway.
Sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina from your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
Sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and help you save time and money down the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Life matters. Cindy Casper tells of visiting their new home when she was a little girl. She was disappointed to see that there were no windows or doors, her bedroom had no walls, and the basement was clearly visible through gaps in the floor. She finally asked her mother why they would want to live in a house like that. Her laughing mother explained that it wasn't finished yet, and that she was sure Cindy would love the house when it was finished. Sure enough, progress began to happen and the house began to shape up. Floors were finished, then interior walls and windows and doors. In a matter of a few weeks, Cindy's nightmare house became her dream house. As Christians, we are a work in progress too. John the Apostle wrote, "Loved ones, we are not yet what we shall be, but we know that when Christ returns, we shall become just like him." This is Pastor Stephen Chitty from Christian Life. Remember, friends, life matters, and so do you. Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
Achieve an insanely clean home with Zero Risk Carpet Cleaning. Call now and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game to get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129 or schedule online at zeroreskcolumbia.com.
Fresh produce is the best produce. That's why at Kroger, we invest in local farmers to bring you the freshest seasonal picks. So no matter how you shop, your local produce always tastes 100% fresh, or you get a 100% refund, guaranteed. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
It's summer Freshtival season, and you'll save on Northwest Red Cherries. Just $1.99 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Heath here with Jacob Crowder from First Palmetto Bank. Summer's here and the real estate market's heating up. And if you're building or buying a new home, you need to contact 1075's longtime mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder. If you've ever needed a guru, it's in this market. First Palmetto Bank is owned and operated here in the Midlands with local decision makers. Processing and underwriting are made easy. If you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call, 803-719-1005, or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
Thanks, Heath. People are buying and building. With school out, we're seeing a lot of activity. Here at First Palmetto Bank, we have products that help home buyers keep payments down. Also, ask me about our refinance options that require zero money out of pocket. Finally, if you're considering building or renovating a home, please ask me about our no-nonsense construction loans. If I can help you, give me a call today, 803-719-1005.
You're making mortgages easy, doing refinances with no money out of pocket, and helping people build and renovate. If you're moving, make Jacob Crowder your first call, 803-719-1005.
Thanks, 1075 listeners. You can also email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com. My NMLS number is 198432. First Palmetto Bank is a member of FDIC and an equal housing lender.
My truck is old and ugly. We need it.
My car has a ton of miles on it.
We want it.
Ugh, my SUV smells a little funny.
Don't even wash it. Trade it at Galliana Kia on Greystone. Any trade goes at Galliana Kia on Greystone. Get $10,000 trade-in assistance when you buy or lease a new Kia EV6. Yes, $10,000 trade-in assistance no matter the mileage or condition. 2023 Kia Sportage LX. Lease for $199 per month. That's right. A new Kia Sportage for $199 per month. Bring us any competitor's price or payment. The only deal we can't beat is the one we don't know about. Gotta go to Galliana. Any trade goes at Galliana Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. EV6 stock number 3K5008. Sportage stock number 3K3026. 24-month lease. 10,000 miles per year. $49.99 to sign. Plus tax tag at $489 closing fee. No security deposit to qualified buyers. Expires Monday.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening along on this Wednesday. It's time for another First Alert traffic update. There was an earlier accident, a minor one, on Interstate 26, but as of right now, we're looking live around the Midlands, and we're good as the morning has continued. Just your typical traffic flows you can anticipate on a Wednesday, and overall, if anything major does occur, of course, as you're listening along, we'll be sure to keep you posted with any new confirmed collisions. But otherwise, sunshine is breaking out. It's going to be a beautiful morning out there. Hope you got that pair of shades, and you make it a safe travel Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Tony Chivaroli. This has been a WIS First Alert Traffic Check.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the Early Game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler, Preston, and Jen along with you, talking about intense coaches. Nameless texter weighs in on the Firehouse Subs text line. Says Coach Sessions looked like John Gruden, but jacked, and would jack you up by the face mask.
Good old jack up by the face mask.
Now, was Lou Holtz the most intense coach you ever encountered?
Lou Holtz was just, and as shout out to my guy, Paul Coach Beckworth out there. Lou Holtz was just a stickler for details.
Okay.
The smallest little things. And so the idea of we're not in the huddle correctly, we didn't call the play correctly. I remember having practices where we were working on our 6-inch step.
Okay.
Over and over again for periods. Being in a football position. What is a football position? You have to get in a football position, walking up and down the field in a football position for 20 minutes.
Right.
So, yes, the idea of attention to detail is 100% one of the hallmarks. But, yeah, there's several different coaches. And the level of the ratcheted up of intensity only seems, in my mind, goes up and up and up as you advance up the ladder.
And I feel like those trench coaches, the defensive line coaches, the offensive line coaches are almost kind of known to be the more intense out of all the coaches, right?
It could, yeah. It varies from staff to staff, but there's usually one or two guys who who are going to be the most intense coaches. I think about through my journey, there's several coaches who were extremely intense, and that was just par for the course.
Now, how intense are you as a coach?
I was fairly intense. I leveled off as I got older, and you figure out better ways to communicate. So the way it'll always happen is your older players will come back and be, oh man, coach, you done got soft.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they were right. I could think about some of the things I thought about that I had my early players doing. Probably wasn't the best coaching, but it got the point across. But yeah, intensity is something that you have to bring as a coach, whether that's attention to detail, paying attention to effort, whatever the case is, you have to be able to bring that.
Well, and I feel like, when you have an intense coach, a lot of the times, if you don't hate your coach, he's not intense enough. That's kind of the golden rule there. But a lot of times, like, man, why is he so hard? Why is he riding us this hard? And then, down the line, whether it be years later, whatever it may be, you're like, oh, now I understand. Now I know he was so hard on us, pushing us to get better. And look, we did get better. I had a wrestling coach back when I was in middle school that was just on me all the time. I'm like, why is this guy picking on me? Why won't he leave me alone? And then like a couple years later, I'm like, oh, he was pushing me to be better, which I did end up being better because he was constantly riding me like that. And it's kind of one of those things that, hindsight being 2020, you're like, okay, now I get what they were trying to do.
Yeah, the job of a coach is to take you from one place to another. And sometimes they can pull you, and sometimes they need to push you. As I heard somebody say, a pat on the back is only a few inches from a kick in the.
That's very true.
And so
that's really good.
Always remember that. I've heard that said.
If you do good, you get the pat on the back. If you don't do good, you get the other thing.
Correct.
I imagine there'll be a lot of the other thing going on at Commanders camp as they're trying to straighten that whole program out.
Yes, there will be a lot of it. They'll get it right, though.
All right, hour number 3 of the early game coming up next. 107.5 The Game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is Carolina men's head golf coach Bill McDonald. You're listening to WNKT FM 107.5, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
Be sure to catch the 2023 Gamecock Central preseason kickoff party Saturday, August 19th at Steel Hands Brewing. Park pep rally, park concert, and all party. We'll have food, drinks, music from Patrick Davis and his Midnight Choir, and everything Gamecock football in between. This party is free to attend, but a limited number of VIP tickets still remain. Go to steelhandsbrewing.com, click on the events tab, and scroll down to buy your tickets. Those will get you in early and with a number of perks. Benefiting the Beamer Family Foundation, we'll see you out there Saturday, August 19th at Steel Hands Brewing.
If you own a founder-led or family-owned business and are looking to sell your company, grab a pen and take down our information. I'm Dan D'Alberto with Purpose Equity Group, located right here in South Carolina. At Purpose Equity Group, we help business owners sell their businesses. Are you ready to retire? Maybe you got a call from someone who wants to buy your company but aren't sure how to respond. Or perhaps you've had an unexpected health issue and need to evaluate your options. We have an extensive network of potential buyers, from private equity firms to family offices and other strategic buyers looking to expand. We've helped business owners and their families all over South Carolina, and we have offices in Columbia and Greenville. We know what it takes to help you sell your business to the right buyer with the right terms at the right price. If you're ready to have those discussions, call us at 803-995-6028 or visit us online at purposeequitygroup.com. Our first visit is free and confidential.
Ollie wants you to hit a hole-in-one for Oliver Gospel Mission. You're invited to the 15th Annual Charity Classic. Your hole sign, a team of 4, will give meals and care for hungry neighbors in our community. That's why we need your church, business, or group of friends to help us golf for good this October 2nd. Go to olivergospel.org to see how you can volunteer and sponsor today.
The power of Christ love. The power of Christ love.
The 2023 Gamecock football season is almost here, and there's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information on season tickets, single game tickets, and our mobile passes. Options start as low as a $20 monthly subscription. Visit gamecockclub.com to learn more. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
Can you imagine a world without junk?
A world where there is room to breathe and stretch out and play.
A world with enough room to laugh and live and love.
You have the power to make that world happen.
And that power is in your forefinger.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Invite us to your house.
We'll only be there a few minutes.
Any home or apartment.
Workplace or job site.
We're industrial strength magicians.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Managing your online presence takes time, effort, and expertise. It can overwhelm even the savviest business owner. So, meet Cumulus Boost. We're experts at boosting the online presence for businesses of every type. We make sure potential customers can easily find you and really like what they find. Your website, online listings, consumer reviews, and more. Cumulus Boost, online at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
This is South Carolina head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home of the Gamecocks, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, 107.5, The Game.
What you're talking about.
On 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. There are lots of places to buy your next ride, but there is no place like Love Chevy, where you never pay more than MSRP, ever. Come by and feel the difference of love. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game.
With Bill Gunter.
I don't know if we'll get on this path today because this show we tend to just teeter wildly out of control.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Unfortunately, I might know a little bit about the Kardashians.
Oh.
And just like that, we're away from sports talk.
And Jen Jensen.
37 text messages right now. One person. Sports talk show. Talk sports. Sir, ma'am, whoever. Yeah,
we'll be back.
You don't get the program. You don't get the program. You don't understand what we're doing here.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game, hour number 3. Tyler, Preston, and Jen with you on this Wednesday morning. Bill will be back in tomorrow, returning from his week-long vacation. Real quick, I want to remind you about the 107.5 The Game football kickoff golf tournament coming up Friday, August 25th out at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. If you want to take part, it's $100 per person and $400 per team. Give Charwood a call at 803-755-2000 to sign up. Going to be raffling off some football tickets, Carowin passes, and much, much more. Lunch is also going to be provided by Firehouse Subs. Don't miss your chance to take a part of the 107.5 The Game football kickoff golf tournament. We'll jump back into hearing from some of the players that we got to speak to the media yesterday as camp rolls on, as we get closer and closer to the season starting again, 24 days away from the season officially kicking off against North Carolina out in Charlotte on week number 1. One of the players we did hear from yesterday was Dakereon Joyner, who, of course, is making the transition to running back for this fall, going to be running back number 1. And he did speak about something yesterday that not a lot of people think of initially when you think of the running back position, but is something that's going to be very, very important. And here is what Dakereon Joyner had to say. Cut number 9.
Oh, a lot. Well, really not even really high school. Really just my development from quarterback when I first got here. Still until now, just kind of knowing how to see defenses, where the blitz may be coming from. Just that mental aspect of it is definitely giving me an edge. I mean, a lot of transition will be a lot much easier than expected.
So the question he was posed was, how does his experience as a quarterback help him in reading pass protection? Because as a running back, you do have to pick up on things like blitzes. You do have to block to some degree. It's not, just going out there and running your routes or running, your handoffs or whatever it may be. Like, that's an important element of the running back spot. And given the fact that he does have experience as a quarterback, you would hope that's going to help him in those situations.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference because you understand the integral part that a running back plays in that situation. The running back fills the gaps. Mm-hmm. So, say if the line is sliding right, the running back might have to step to the left to pick up the edge rusher. If the line are occupied by all of the defensive linemen, you see I got my football hands. I'm starting to get them going. If the line are occupied by all the defensive linemen and they're bringing a blitz or a single barrel blitz or something, the running back might have to step up and be basically the personal protector, which they used Nate Atkins in a lot of ways last year to do. He's going to have to step up and be the protector for the quarterback in front of him. Now, yes, that gives you a mental edge. You can know what you need to do.
Doing it's a different story.
There's the second component of knowing what you need to do and being able to do it. And I'm not saying that Dakereon can't do it.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can. He will be able to do it. But it is a slight difference of knowing what's happening that gives you an advantage. But now you actually have to take on that 6'3", 250 defensive end that's coming screaming off the edge. That's going to be a little bit of a different story.
And it usually is the edge rusher that they end up getting matched up with. But as a defensive lineman, did you ever get matched up with the running back at one point? And
that's when you're licking your chops.
On that one.
What? They did what? Sometimes you'd be like, I might not get to the quarterback, but at least I know I'm going to beat him up.
Yeah.
Like that. At least you get a little twinkle in your eye when you see a running back, because the running backs don't really want to block.
Sure.
They're there, but they're like, I don't want to do this.
And some running backs, blocking is a generous way to put it. They are causing enough of a distraction so the quarterback can escape.
Especially now that they've eliminated the cut block.
Yeah.
So if they can't cut out of the box,
can't go low.
You can't cut out of the box. That took away one of their neutralizing tools, because you was always nervous that he might be looking at you and he might end up cutting you. But if they can't do that, I know you just got to square up on me, face chest to chest. I'll take my chances on that one.
I'm glad you mentioned cut blocking, because I've always been curious, how angry does that make defensive players when they get cut blocked?
Infuriating. If you don't get hurt, one, but two, it's because it's the idea of like just looking at each other.
Yeah.
We had a sort of agreement that we was gonna, and then you just whoop, like you pull the tablecloth underneath.
That's what I'd always heard when teams play teams that run the triple option, because there's a lot of cut blocking when it comes to the triple option, of just like how angry that makes defensive players on having to deal with that through the entire game.
And I mean, you get into the weeds of what, that's sort of like cut blocking, crab blocking on the O-line, where they're just sort of getting at your ankles, being real ankle biters, very annoying, that sort of thing. But The cut blocking I'm talking about is when running backs step up into the gap or linebackers come in on an A blitz or a B blitz or something like that, and they just basically clip their knees out. You'll see that happening a lot, and they've sort of taken that out the game, probably with good reason.
It's dangerous.
It is. It's 100%. It is dangerous, but it does eliminate one of the tools that running backs had to neutralize that linebacker having basically a free run at them. So they'll work on those drills. And that's something that he's going to have to work on his technique, and I'm sure he is. But knowing where the blitz is coming from does protect you in a lot of those instances.
Any specific running backs you can remember blowing up?
Nah, not specifically. I can't think of anybody by name, but you just know when you see a running back, it's like, oh,
it's on.
This is great. Can't believe they did this.
Another cut from DeCarrion talking yesterday about settling in at the running back spot.
Really like day 2 or kind of day 1, I was like, I still had to kind of get my feet back together. But after day 1, I was able to just, hone in on the position again. I'm starting to feel comfortable. Like I said, I'm starting to get confident. And just got to continue to grow and continue to get better.
And look, DeCarrion Joyner's been around college football forever. He's going to be one of those guys that we put right up there with like the Hunter Renfros. It seemed like they played for 20 years. DeCarrion Joyner's been around this game for a very, very long time. So it's not that, anything's necessarily new to him. It's just getting acclimated to being in a different spot on the field.
It's so wild to see how this story has played out. I've known of DeCarrion since he was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
He's from Fort Dorchester, which is right near Somerville. He played for Coach.
We were talking the other day about the guy that's on the Angels now.
Yeah,
and
Jordan
that
Adams.
matchup,
Yeah.
Jordan Adams, and the matchup was him and DeCarrion Joyner playing quarterback.
That was in high school, and I said he played for Coach LaPrade. Coach LaPrade, who's one of those old school talk about intense coaches.
Yeah,
Coach LaPrade is up there with the top of them, which is why Fort Dorchester has always had a great program. But he told me when DeCarrion was in 9th grade, he's like, Preston, he's different than anybody I've ever coached. And he's like, I've coached a lot of great ones. He'll be the best. And he has been. But that was almost 10 years ago. So this guy, I call him a kid, but he's been around just the football consciousness of the state for a very long time.
And the one thing, and look, he's going to be beloved as a Gamecock for years and years to come, just for everything that he's done for this team, his willingness to do anything and everything that's been asked of him, play wide receiver, play quarterback, win the MVP of the Duke's Mayo Bowl at playing quarterback, now transitioning to running back. Like, I can't think of a better, obviously you would love to have a full running back room of established guys that you feel confident in, as you're going through the spring and everything, but they didn't have that. So they turned to DeCarrion Joyner, said, hey, we believe you're going to be the best option that we have to do this. And again, given his experience in all the college football that he's played, I can't think of a better guy on this team that would have been able to slide into that position. And while, yes, it may take a little bit of an acclimation process of him, consistently playing the running back spot, I have no doubt that he's going to be successful at it.
Yeah. There's nobody else on the team that you would want to give a task like that, switching positions, trying to take on the mantle of being the starting running back. He's somebody that we know will at least accept it wholeheartedly and give everything that he has to get it done. So I'm not worried about that. It's up to him. It's up to the coaches to put him in the best positions to be successful, because he's going to give all that he has to that task.
Absolutely. And especially when you look at the running back room and Juju McDowell as well, where you're bringing in, Mario Anderson coming from Division II, DJ Braswell coming in as a true freshman. Like, these are guys that have to get up to speed to what the college game is at the SEC level. And when you have DeCarrion Joyner and Juju McDowell as well, also in that room to help those guys, that's only going to improve the room as a whole.
Yeah. Once you get the ball in any of these running backs' hands, running the ball is largely instinctual.
Yes.
They'll see holes. They'll be able to make cuts. They'll get back in the form of making plays. It's more so what DeCarrion was talking about, the other parts of being a running back, filling in pass protections, getting out in the running back routes, sort of the ancillary things that we think about running backs, which makes you a full and complete back.
Absolutely. So very excited to see what DeCarrion Joyner is going to be able to do at running back this year. You know, as we've talked about, is he going to be a guy that's going to go out there and carry it 20, 25 times a game? Probably not. It's definitely going to be a back by committee type of approach. But given his ability as a wide receiver, as his natural position, the ability to use him out of the backfield in the pass game, dump off passes, screens, so on and so forth, like you have a lot of confidence that DeCarrion Joyner is going to be able to do a lot of good things at this position.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and again, the leadership aspect, having somebody who's also a leader, somebody who can calm the team, somebody who's seen a lot of variations of college football, you can never discount experience at this level.
Absolutely. So again, 24 days away from kickoff, we'll finally get to see him as a true running back in that first game, and hopefully that produces a lot of great things for this offense coming up this year. Coming up next, we've obviously talked a lot about the realignment going on in college football, and look, it's not done yet. We still got to see what's going to happen with Stanford and Cal, and maybe SMU is going to join the ACC as well. Who knows? But a lot is still yet to be decided. Greg Sankey was on the Paul Feinbaum show yesterday talking about a number of things on how the realignment affects college football going forward. And one thing that he talked about was the future of the college football playoff and some decisions that are going to have to be made in these next couple of years. We'll hit on that coming up next. You're listening to The Early Game, Tyler Preston and Jen on 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 107.5 The Game on Twitter, 107.5 The Game on Instagram, and 107.5 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? Oh, I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshields, no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with your insurance to take away the headache. So if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Earlier, I noted that Bill Belichick put Paul Brown first on the list of coaches he would have liked to have worked with. Then came George Halas, Vince Lombardi, and Al Davis, who coached the Raiders before owning them. Working for Bill Parcells, Belichick faced such great offensive minds as Bill Walsh, Joe Gibbs, and Mike Shanahan. I'm Boomer Esiason.
1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced. Let our professional parts people test your battery for free at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
New Brake Best Select Pro. Professional grade brake pads and rotors from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Print and Marketing Services help small business print big for less. And now at Staples, you can save even more with 50% back in rewards on print orders. Ends 8/12. Exclusions apply. Rewards members only. Rewards redeemable in-store only. Save for your business at Staples.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
No one likes to talk about the injuries, pain, disability, and lost loved ones that result from terrible car and tractor-trailer accidents. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're honored to be the lawyers our clients rely on during their toughest moments.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When a work injury disrupts your life, I work hard to get you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Achieve an insanely clean home with Zerorez Carpet Cleaning. Call now and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game to get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129 or schedule online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
It has gotten busy out there this morning. Bar Road near Richard Bonham Drive, an accident there. Also, Faro at I-77. Friars Gate Boulevard at North Royal Tower, you'll find an accident. Albrecht Drive at Garner's Ferry Road. Also, I-20 eastbound just after exit 65. That would be Broad River Road. Also, Longtown at Lee Road. Oak Drive at Augusta Road. And one other to let you know about, and that's Highway 321 at Campground Road. So be careful out there this morning. I know a lot of people returning to school today. Mainly sunny, 94 for the high. Some morning storms tomorrow, 94. 93 for the high on Friday with some isolated storms. Right now, 74 at 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Game
with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
I do think the access we've created through the 12-team format still seems wise, but maybe there are elements and specifics of what was decided when we had clarity around 10 conferences that might need to be adjusted given what's happening right now.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Preston and Jen along with you on this Wednesday morning. That was the voice of SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey on the Paul Feinbaum Show. Yesterday, they dove into a number of topics. We'll certainly have plenty of that audio for you as the shows go along today on 107.5 The Game. What he was talking about there, though, was the college football playoff, obviously going to 12 teams in 2024. And as the wheel of realignment continues to spin, we have to ask some questions about what the future of the college football playoff format is going to be, because starting next year, as it stands right now, there are automatic qualifiers to the 12-team playoff. The top 6 conference champions all get in. So all Power 5 conferences, and then the highest ranked Group of 5 conference champion is guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff. Top 4 obviously get the first round buys with the top 4 seeds there. The problem is there may only be 4 Power 5 conferences. So the question is, okay, do you now let 2 Group of 5 conferences in? Do you open it up to where it's all at-large bids? Like, there's some questions that need to be answered about how we're going to do this.
Well, as long as we have the conference format, they will never open it up to all at-large bids, because everybody's going to try and protect their piece, because you could likely, and again, this is us being SEC bias around here, but
sure,
we would say, man, we need 4 or 5 teams.
Right.
And I'm not sure we would be wrong in that instance. So I don't think that would ever be an option.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess you could keep it at 4 and say, okay, the 4 Power 4 champions, I guess we're going to have to call it Power 4, you're all guaranteed to have those top 4 seeds. And then we'll give the Group 5 champion one of the other 5 to 12 seeds, and then we fill in the rest with the at-large bid. Because again, the thing that was interesting about this, and kind of the same thing that we've had with 4-team college football playoff, which in a lot of years has featured all conference champions. We've had a little bit different these past couple of years, but I was like, okay, well, one of the Power 5 conferences is going to get left out. Pac-12 ended up being that conference a lot of the time. So the same thing was going to kind of exist with this new format. Like, okay, yes, every Power 5 champion will get in, but only 4 of them are guaranteed that first round bye. Now with the Pac-12 essentially dissolving into nothing, and if they, do this merger with the Mountain West, that's not going to be seen in the same regards as what the Pac-12 was as a conference. Now it's like, okay, well, if you win a conference championship in a Power 4 conference, you're automatically going to get a bye no matter what.
So is it galaxy brain thinking to say like, well, if we stay in this version of the Pac-12, we're still here as a Power 5 conference, and so we automatically get a bid even though there's only 4 of us there? Is that a possibility?
And that's the issue with the now Power 4 conferences. You can't schedule a conference that way. You can't have a conference championship game with less than 12 teams. Now, the Big 10 or the Big 12 did have a waiver they had with the, I guess, with the College Football Playoff Committee to get a conference championship game because that was putting them behind the 8 ball. But you can't do that with 4 teams. You can't say, okay, we're just going to play each other 3 times or something like that. Like, that is not how conferences are structured. So either it's going to be Stanford and Cal going off and joining the ACC, or it's going to be Oregon State and Washington State joining the Mountain West and just kind of dissolving into that, which I'm sure it'll be called the Pac-12 or the Pac or something to that degree to keep the name alive, but it's not going to be seen in the same regard. Like, you go from having Oregon and Washington in your conference to, Nevada and New Mexico. It's not quite the same.
So basically they're going to have to rearrange, as Greg Sankey was saying, they're going to have to rearrange the conditions under which you qualify for the tournament.
Now, here's the thing, because the original contract of the College Football Playoff ran through 2026. We were supposed to have a 14 playoff through 26 and then reevaluate. Obviously, we know they changed that, and we're having a 12-team playoff starting next year. As it stands right now, those automatic qualifiers are still in place through 26. So for the first 2 years of the 12-team playoff, as of right now, it's still going to be automatic qualifiers for those conference champions. Once we get to 2026 and the new contract comes up, then it opens up the possibility to do some different things. What they do, I don't know. I'm with you, though. I feel like just having the straight up 12 best teams, if you're in the top 12, you make it in. If you're not, tough luck. If you're a conference champion or whatever it may be, just make sure you're in the top 12. That would be the best option to me. But like you said, I don't think a lot of the conferences are going to sign off on that.
Yeah, I don't think it would sign off on that, just because there's already the idea or the concept of SEC bias. There's already the concept of they already get too many teams in there. How do they get 2 teams in the 4-team playoffs? And we would, on this side of the country, would say because we're better, right? We would say that, but I don't think that'll. And also, quite frankly, I don't think that's great for the spreading out of the viewership. I do think part of the viewership is to have all parts of the country involved in the conversation.
And a big part of this was, and look, going to a 12-team college football playoff is most likely not going to change who is crowned national championship every year. It's going to be the same rotation of teams that we've been dealing with: Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama. Those are going to be the same teams hoisting the championship when it's all said and done in January. But this is getting more teams involved in the process of the national championship, because for the longest time it was only 2 teams. Then it became 4 teams. Now it's going to become 12 teams, to where, okay, on a normal year, okay, we went, 9-3, and we won the whatever bowl game. All right, that's fine, but we weren't in the championship mix. Now you can say, okay, we went 9-3, made the college football playoff, got eliminated in the first round, but hey, still made the playoffs. So there's a lot more. It's opening up a lot more abilities for success for more teams around the country.
Ultimately, I think 2026 is too far away for us to even consider.
It is, but at the same time, it's almost like it's tomorrow.
Yeah, but with the how rapid these changes are happening, I would not be surprised if we, by 2026, if football has separated, or if we have this totally new paradigm or how we're viewing college sports. So even the concept and idea of these Power 5s, I wouldn't be surprised. I personally, by 2026, would not be surprised if we're looking at a totally different layout of the college football landscape.
And you're not wrong in that regard. I mean, it was a month ago. We were pretty sure we knew what the conferences were going to look like in 2024. And here we sit a month away from the season starting, less than a month away from the season starting, and still not really knowing who exactly is going to go where in regards to anywhere between 2 and 6 teams.
Also, I appreciate listening to Greg Sankey. I think he's very clear and he communicates what was happening. He did say something yesterday I thought was interesting. He was like, it's a tinge of sadness what happened to the Pac-12. It's like, Greg, you might have had something to do with that, sir. I can't believe they made me do that.
Well, I mean, the SEC technically
that's right
didn't take any teams from the Pac-12.
No, we did not.
The influence of what the SEC is certainly plays a part in that.
He just acted as if he was I'm an innocent bystander in this whole situation.
There are no SEC fingerprints on the cold body that is the Pac-12.
Correct.
There's Big 12, there's Big 10 fingerprints on it, but the SEC was a casual observer to the side.
Exactly. That's why he's like, it's a tinge of sadness what's happening over there.
Yeah.
Come on in, anybody else. Texas, Oklahoma will take you.
And I something else that he said yesterday that I thought was really good is, because now you're looking at the Big 12 and the Big 10, stretching coast to coast, the ACC looking at maybe being on both coasts. And he said, we don't need to be across the entire country. People know our brand.
I like it.
That's that's a flex.
He's a strong leader, man. I really do enjoy listening to Greg Sankey, even when at the beginning of media days and whenever he does address the media. I just think he's a very clear communicator. And I feel like at the end of his conversations, I feel like I understand where he's coming from and I know what he's talking about. I may not agree, but I understand what he's saying.
And, I feel like a lot of people say, well, the SEC is self-sufficient. It doesn't necessarily have to have a strong leader to be successful. It does. And Greg Sankey's been at the helm for a while now, and he's a very strong voice in the world of college football. Like I said, very smart, very articulate. I don't think he would get himself into a mess like Kliavkoff's gotten himself into out there in the Pac-12.
No.
He is a good, strong leader, and the conference is going to be in good hands going forward.
Yeah, that's what you can feel assured of. That unless something else takes him away, something bigger, grander, the SEC will be in good hands for a while.
Absolutely. Speaking of the SEC, one of the most polarizing figures in SEC history recently had a documentary drop. I checked it out yesterday, and I have some thoughts.
Okay.
I will talk about that coming up next. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Preston Thorne here for the Red Shirt Guys Roofing, where they believe roofing is a craft, not a commodity. They are committed to staying up to date on the latest installation techniques and products. That's why they are the Midland's highest rated roofing company. The Red Shirt Guys do the right thing on and off the roof, and they will be here long after the job is complete. Residential or commercial, choose the Red Shirt Guys Roofing. Request a free quote online or call them. 243-3968. TheRedShirtGuys.com.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler Brown. Do you know the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? The difference could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term care costs. Visit lawyerlisa.com to schedule a consultation today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Honey, you need a trust.
Be sure to catch the 2023 Gamecock Central preseason kickoff party Saturday, August 19th at Steel Hands Brewing. Park pep rally, park concert, and all party. We'll have food, drinks, music from Patrick Davis and his Midnight Choir, and everything Gamecock football in between. This party is free to attend, but a limited number of VIP tickets still remain. Go to steelhandsbrewing.com, click on the events tab, and scroll down to buy your tickets. Those will get you in early and with a number of perks. Benefiting the Beamer Family Foundation, we'll see you out there Saturday, August 19th at Steel Hands Brewing.
Cowboy boots are more than functional. They're works of art. At Boot Barn, we see a cowboy boot not only as a symbol of the West, but also as a unique masterpiece. Corral designs their boots with artistry in mind. From striking laser-cut inlays to Western embroidery, their handcrafted boots are dedicated to artistic craftsmanship for cowboy boots made to be worn and collected. Corral boots at Boot Barn.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Still working a few accidents out there, including Oak Drive at Highway 1, also Halbrook Drive at Garners Ferry Road, Friars Gate Boulevard at North Royal Tower, and Faro at I-77. And again, looking at a decent forecast, sunny, 94 today, 94 tomorrow. Could start out the day with some storms, and then 93 on Friday with some off and on storms. Right now, though, 74 at 107.5 The Game.
What you're talking about.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. 107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen along with you. One more reminder about the Ultimate Gamecock Season Ticket Giveaway live now on 1075thegame.com. Just click on the Ultimate Season Ticket image, fill out that form for your chance to win tickets to every home football game, every home men and women's basketball game, and every home baseball game for this upcoming sports season. Again, the Ultimate Gamecock Season Ticket Giveaway live now on 1075thegame.com. So yesterday on Netflix, Untold dropped the Johnny football documentary, and it was appointment viewing for me. I watched the entire thing yesterday, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be something where they glossed over some of the more dirty details of Johnny football's life, in the past 10 years. And I can say this, they did not pull any punches. They addressed everything, and poor Johnny Manziel, he took a lot of accountability for everything that's gone wrong.
That's what I was worried about too. I didn't know whether it was going to be basically a fluff piece where they prop him up and don't really get into the details of how the rise and the fall.
Yep.
And so I'm glad to hear that. I have not watched it.
It's really good.
But that's good to hear. So with no spoilers, I guess this is tough. Without spoilers, what was your general feeling coming away from watching the documentary?
I feel like I kind of, to a degree, understand a little bit more about how tough the life he's had to live the past 10 years was, because he went from a nobody to a sensation kind of overnight.
Very quickly.
And, you kind of look at like child actors and stuff, right? People that grow up in the spotlight that, have trouble adjusting as normal adults and, turn to drugs or turn to other things as they get older as coping mechanisms. And when you kind of look like, and again, they do a good job detailing everything. They really focus a lot on those 2 years at Texas A&M. And, yes, they do obviously talk about what happened in the NFL, but a good, at least first half of the documentary is all Texas A&M and everything that happened in those 2 seasons, and which is very important because that kind of thrust him in the spotlight. And, he's on these TV shows and he's hanging out with celebrities and he's, as we know now, making money from signing autographs. And it really focuses in on that and, how that just kind of really set him up for, I don't want to say failure, but it really just kind of created this path in life he wasn't expecting.
Right, because there's nobody there around to prepare you for
Right.
what happened. When you're saying relatively quick, it's not relative. It's absolute light speed.
Yeah.
To go from a relative unknown that maybe that somebody's talking about in the SEC. We got this guy. He's a little undersized. He runs around a little bit. I don't know how good he'd be to.
Yeah.
In 12 weeks, he's in the Heisman conversation and
Right.
he's the number one person maybe in the sports world.
Right.
And that's rapid speed.
Yeah. And obviously we haven't seen him play football in several years. Got cut by the Browns now, 7 years ago. So, getting to see some of those highlights from him and stuff, and you just forget like how freakishly athletic he is. And that is why, he was so good in college because he was the best athlete on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't need to watch film. He didn't need to read defenses to just go out there. And he even says in the documentary, I was playing backyard football. I got the ball in my hands. If Mike Evans wasn't open, he was going to take off and run and, end up faking out 3 or 4 defenders on his way to the end zone because he was just that good of an athlete. Now, when we got to the NFL and you have to actually study film and like develop yourself as a quarterback, wasn't prepared to do that. And that's why he ended up fizzling out. But from like a pure raw talent standpoint, he was one of the best college football's ever seen.
Absolutely. And just electric as far as the personality was concerned. And it's somebody that we all wanted to really buy into, the intrigue of who he was and what he was about. Money Manziel, Johnny Football. I mean, it was all it all worked.
I was in high school when he was at Texas A&M, and everybody wanted to be Johnny Manziel. We were all doing the money sign anytime we're playing football in gym class. We're doing the Johnny Manziel kind of stuff. Like, he was an icon to so many young people growing up. And I want to pose this question to you as a coach. And when you look at somebody like him, who a lot of young athletes at that point in time were inspiring to be like, when you look at who he was off the field, what are your thoughts on, young athletes looking up to somebody like that?
You're not going to be able to control that. So it's the same conversation we've been having here with John Morant.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Manziel is the same sort of because they play a style of the game that is so appealing. It appeals to what we all want to be when we're growing up.
Sure.
You're not going to be able to control that. What you can hope for is that person is somebody that they will want to emulate off the field, or that we just say, all right, we're strictly focusing on what they do on the field. But you can't control who your athletes. You would love for them to be like, look at this guy. He's fundamentally sound. Look how he plays. Look at Tim Duncan. Why don't you be like,
yeah?
But that's not how it works. When you're young, you get intrigued by the outliers, the people that make the game interesting. And that's why I was saying with John Morant, I noticed that regardless of who was the stars, the NBA was telling us who they wanted to be the stars.
Sure.
The kids were on John Morant. And it was the same concept with Johnny Manziel. This kid's, he's undersized a little bit.
Yeah, he's like
running
5'10".
around. Yeah, he's running around. He's throwing the ball all kinds of ways. He's doing the money sign. He looked like somebody you would want to be like.
There is a good point in the documentary, and they show this like clip of one of those like 80s quarterback development videos, which is telling you like all the mechanics of being a good quarterback. And every time they say something of like, okay, like square your shoulders up or like set your feet, they show Johnny Manziel doing the exact opposite of every single one of those things.
Right. The only thing you can tell your players is that, look, you're not Johnny Manziel. You're going to need to do it the proper way, because unfortunately you're not as talented as he is. And so, yeah, that concept of the guy, but this is on and on again. You'll hear the same thing.
Sure.
We don't ever want to imitate the person who's fundamentally sound because that's just not as fun.
Sure. And, I guess, and when you look at like, well, why did NFL scouts want to take a chance on him? And you got to remember, like, he was coming in right on the heels of Tim Tebow in the NFL. He went to Denver, had that crazy year where they had all those comeback wins, had the big touchdown in the playoff game versus Pittsburgh. And Tim Tebow is a very unorthodox quarterback in college. So it's like, well, if it can work for Tebow, maybe it can work for Manziel. And obviously it did not work for Manziel. But I can somewhat understand why they thought, okay, maybe if we get him in here, we can develop him, get him to be the kind of quarterback we want him to be. Johnny just didn't want to put the work in.
And because he had never had to.
Right.
In order for him to be successful, all he had to do was say hike, and I'm going to make something happen.
Yeah.
When he got to the level where he had to put in the work, that was
Yeah.
a shock for him. Very
It-
similar to how a lot of us, when we get to, if you get a chance to go to college and you get to college, you realize, oh, I have to study.
Yeah. I was one of those people in high school. Like, I was never a hard studier. I'm like,
course.
look, I know what I know.
Of
and
course.
that I did just fine with that. But you get into college and like, oh, I do have to like read this stuff
What's
and
this
actually
studying
spend
about?
time on
Yeah.
that.
How do
Like,
I have to? I got to spend some time.
I'm not just
actually
going to be
do-
able to remember all this off the top of my head.
Exactly. It's the same. It's the same concept for somebody like Johnny to try and figure that out. And it does take a toll on you when what's worked for you your whole life all of a sudden stops working.
Right.
And now you don't know where you don't haven't developed any backup plans or any other systems to figure out how you're going to be successful.
You'll also be excited to know Cliff Kingsbury is a featured part of this documentary.
Of course he would be. I mean, honestly, Cliff Kingsbury owes a lot of his future paychecks to Johnny Manziel. And
Absolutely.
you hear this story a lot of times. The coach continues to rise
Yep.
and the player falls.
Yeah.
And the coach is like, man,
Well, let's be honest. He kept Kevin Sumlin around Texas A&M longer than maybe he probably should have been.
100%.
And the problem with Kevin Sumlin is they had success too fast. Because remember, 2012, that was his first year as the head coach at Texas A&M, which was Johnny's, redshirt freshman of the year when he won the Heisman Trophy. They had all this success out of the gate and were never able to replicate that. If he has that success in year 3, year 4, maybe he hangs around a little bit longer. But, they were living off that one season for so long.
Yeah, so to that point, one of Cliff Kingsbury's resume points is that he was the coach of Johnny Manziel. Well, did he coach Johnny Manziel or did he just tell him, Johnny, go do Johnny things?
And he actually brings that up in the documentary. In that first game that they played in 2012, they were very much trying to be specific to the offense that Cliff Kingsbury wanted to run, and they weren't as successful as he thought they should have been. And it got to the point because they played Florida in that first game, and I think the next game they played maybe SMU on the road, and he just let Johnny be Johnny, and he's like, oh, this is what we're going to do going forward. So yeah, it was a lot more of like Johnny just being Johnny more than it was Cliff Kingsbury's offense.
And Cliff Kingsbury has rode that star all the way to, what is he, the assistant OC at USC now?
He's one of the analysts at OC
I'll say this. Cliff has not missed a paycheck since.
Well, he got paid the $5 million to not coach the Cardinals, and he got that ticket to Thailand. We thought he was just going to hang out there for a couple
Cliff
years.
hasn't missed a paycheck since. So a lot of times you'll see this concept where the player takes on the burden of playing and has to take on all of the unfortunate downsides of that rising star, and the person who's behind it, i.e. the coach, a lot of times just keeps riding that coattail even if that thing has failed. So Cliff, donate a proceed of your check to Johnny Manziel. At least help him buy that bar a little bit because he supported your career for a long time.
Well, I can guarantee you Johnny Manziel has a lot of money from his abbreviated time in the NFL, and he's you'll see in the documentary he's still spending it pretty well.
I didn't think he had a problem spending.
The party lifestyle has not died down for him. I'll say that much.
Okay, all
But
right, I'm in. I'm gonna watch it.
It's definitely worth a watch. They got the one coming out on the Urban Meyer Gators, I believe, next week. That's going to be really, really exciting because we talk about all the personalities that were on that team.
Ooh, I wonder how deep they're going to go on that.
I hope pretty deep. And again, with these Untold documentaries, they had a really good one on Manti Te'o last year. They don't really beat around the bush. They go deep into the details, and you'll hear some pretty surprising things from Johnny Manziel. I'll say that much.
So That's a strong recommendation from you.
Definitely a strong
All right.
recommendation.
I already
And
planned
look,
on watching it, but I'm
I'm
glad to know that it's not going to be what I was fearing it might be.
I'm a sucker for a good documentary anyway, but that one definitely went as deep as I wanted.
We
it
got
to.
3 docs. We got the Johnny Manziel, the Florida one, and then the Bishop Sycamore.
Bishop Sycamore. I'm excited about that
So
one.
football docs leading us onto football season.
Absolutely. We'll come back on the other side, wrap up today's edition of the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
How would you like season tickets to all Gamecocks football games, baseball games, men's and women's basketball games?
Well, now you can.
It's the ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
Not feeling like yourself? Call the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS. You can win tickets to every USC football game at Williams-Brice.
South Carolina punctuates a massive upset.
Every Gamecock baseball game at Founders Park.
The Gamecocks strike first, a 2-run shot from Ethan Petrie.
Every men's and women's hoops games at the CLA.
One undefeated team left in the nation. It's the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Just go to 1075thegame.com and register to win.
The ultimate season ticket giveaway.
Sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina from your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
Want to remind you, school's starting. It's time to contact Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Right now, you can have Zerorez come out to your house and take advantage of a great deal going on. You can get 3 rooms cleaned for only $129 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. Zerorez, using its patented electrolyzed ZR water technology that cleans and eliminates dirt without any chemical additives. This way, your carpets stay cleaner longer. Again, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. You can schedule online as well, ZerorezColumbia.com. With the kids going back, now's the opportunity to get the house looking nice and clean. Contact Zerorez, 803-262-4020, or again, schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. In the morning, Taco Bell keeps it toned down and simple, like the Breakfast Crunch Wrap, with fluffy eggs, sausage, melty cheese, and a crispy hash brown in a grilled tortilla. Nothing too wild, just delicious. Taco Bell breakfast, served until 11 a.m.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. Madison Gant just walked in. How you doing?
Doing great, Woody. How are you?
Good. Madison, I see your trucks everywhere for Pioneer Tree Service. Tell us some of the people you work with.
Well, we've been very busy with residential and commercial customers.
So, Madison, you're doing the State House, Midlands Tech, City of Columbia, University of South Carolina. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service. And now there's a new little Gant girl, Dawson. We got all the Gant girls in the room.
We do tree removal, stump removal, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree thinning, tree cabling, and we will raise your tree canopy.
And no matter where you live, the Gant girls can get there. So, hey, Gant girls, how do they get in touch with you?
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253 or check us out online at pioneertreesc.com.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you
have a leak? Let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Pedale Wine Pool and Spa is your one-stop shop for all things swimming pools and hot tubs. New construction of vinyl, fiberglass, or gunite swimming pools, as well as liner replacements, weekly maintenance, repairs to existing equipment, or upgrades. Come see us at 5541 Sunset Boulevard to check out our full line of spas and where we offer free water samples and all the chemicals you need to keep your pool and spa clear and clean. Pedale Wine Pool and Spa. You'll find us on Facebook or online at PedaleWinePools.com.
Get ready to paint Charlotte garnet and black on September 2nd when the Gamecocks kick off the season versus UNC at Bank of America Stadium. Visit GamecocksOnline.com to secure your tickets today.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening along on this Wednesday. It's time for another First Alert traffic update. There was an earlier accident, a minor one, on Interstate 26, but as of right now, we're looking live around the Midlands, and we're good as the morning has continued. Just your typical traffic flows you can anticipate on a Wednesday, and overall, if anything major does occur, of course, as you're listening along, we'll be sure to keep you posted with any new confirmed collisions. But otherwise, sunshine is breaking out. It's going to be a beautiful morning out there. Hope you got that pair of shades, and you make it a safe travel Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Tony Chivaroli. This has been a WIS First Alert Traffic Check.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game, 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen along with you on this Wednesday morning. Back to normal programming tomorrow. Bill back in after his week off. I've enjoyed hanging out with you guys this past week. It's been fun.
It's been a good week.
It has been a good week, and just you using the term normal and Bill in the same sentence.
Well,
I don't know about that,
is
but
that too generous?
yeah, a little bit. Ask the listener. We could poll the listeners. Probably ask,
Maybe regularly scheduled programming.
Programming.
Maybe
that's probably safer. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's been fun having you in here, Tyler.
Yeah, no, it's always fun. Once I get up in the morning, I'm good to go. It's just the pulling myself out of bed at 4 a.m. isn't the easiest.
Yeah,
No.
that's they said it wouldn't get easier. I guess you get used to it, but again, there's still some mornings I'm like, man, we right back here again.
Yeah.
I will say this is a little bit easier than when I did this in Athens and I lived an hour away from the station.
Oh boy.
Because then I was getting up at before 3:30.
Oh.
And that wasn't fun. And then having to drive an
that would
hour.
that's a dangerous drive.
Yeah, that is a dangerous drive. Lot of deer out that early in the morning. I came to find
Yeah,
out.
you don't want to make that drive.
Yeah, so a little bit easier driving in from Lexington, only being 20 minutes away.
Yeah, that helps a little bit. I guess I try to look at it as we're not in TV.
Right.
So,
correct.
We don't
it's
have
not-
to look good.
Exactly. We don't have to look good. Their morning shows start a little bit earlier yet, so they have to get up even earlier. Plus,
Mhm.
again, they have to do prepping and all that kind of stuff and be pretty. And we don't have to be.
That's true.
So I'm kind of dig the radio thing.
Yes, absolutely. So and then Tyler, you get a chance to go back to your regularly scheduled sleep schedule, right? So that's
is
got to be
correct.
that's got to be exciting.
Yes. That's very much looking forward to that. But
So we won't call you tomorrow.
please don't. I mean, I'll still be here at my usual time at 8 in the morning. But
Yeah.
getting back to my usual rotation, I think Jay's missed me on producing the halftime show.
I think so.
So, but getting back to the regular rotation tomorrow. Bill will be back in, and you'll have Carry On tomorrow. You guys getting previewed for Indy Road Course this week. Jen, I've been meaning to ask you, as a native Hoosier yourself, do you want to see them go back to the Oval?
I kind of do.
Yeah.
I like the road course. I like the uniqueness of it and whatever. And once they got some of the glitches of the track figured out, that made it better. But I don't know. Yeah, I still kind of would rather just be the old Brickyard.
Something about the prestige of the event itself,
Mhm.
having the crown jewel back would be very welcome to me.
Me too. I think
So-
it's time.
Hopefully. Again, Bill Gunner back in tomorrow as he returns from his week off, and we get closer and closer to the start of football season. I'm not going anywhere. Coming up next, it's In the Bonus with myself and Colin Taylor, as we will dive plenty into everything going on with camp. Of course, Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with myself and Wes today. coming up at 11 as well. Thanks for listening to 107.5 The Game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is Jalen Nichols from South Carolina football. You're listening to